I request dignitaries to take the chair. I request Stoka Krishna Maharaj to be chairperson of the session. And I request paper presenters also to be seated on the dais. M. Narayana Acharya. Pratosh Bharta. Madhvacharya. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. The first day of the Philosophy of Krishna Bhakti in North India Conference. The first session was successfully concluded. Now we are going to start the second session of the first day. The second session of the first day will be chaired by His Holiness Stoka Krishna Swamiji, Bengaluru. And there are 4 paper presenters in this session. Professor M. Narayana Acharya from Tirupati, National Sanskrit University. And Dr. Tanmay Goswamiji, Udupi, Vrindavan. And Dr. Vishvaprassana, Principal, Vedavyasa Gurukulam, New Delhi. And Dr. Pratosh, IISc, Bangalore. So with the permission of Chairperson, I will start this session. So there are 5 papers. First, I request Dr. Professor M. Narayana Acharya Tirupati to present his paper. Professor M. Narayana Acharya is basically from Poornaprajna Vidyapeetha. He is the pupil of Paramapujya Shri Shri Vidyamanya Tirtharu and Paramapujya Shri Shri Vishvesha Tirtha Shri Bengaluru. After completing the 13-year course in Poornaprajna Vidyapeetha, he was appointed as the teacher in Ujire College. Then he was appointed as a assistant professor, newly opened Dvaita Vedanta Vibhaga of National Sanskrit University, then Tirupati Vidyapeetha, Vidyapeetha. Recently, the Tirupati National Sanskrit University's Dvaita Vedanta Vibhaga has completed 25 years. So on the occasion of 25th years, we had a great seminar here in this august room. The life and literature of Sri Tirtha Muni, which was actually the brainchild of Narayana Acharya. Narayana Acharya has presented many papers in various international seminars, national seminars, and he is part of the many committees across the India in many universities. And especially he is very helpful in the nature to guide the future generations how to pursue your academic career, in which subject you can pursue your academic career. Those kinds of instructions are very helpful for young generation. I request Narayana Acharya to present his paper. The topic is Chaitanya and Madhvacharya.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Shriman Lakshmi Nrasimhasya Shriyam Dishatu Me Nakha Swabhakta Bhishtadanaya Samupatta Dashakrate. Acharya Pavanosmakam Acharyani Cha Bharati Devo Narayana Shrishaha Devi Mangala Devata. Apadamauli Paryantam Gurunam Akritim Smaret ತೇನ ವಿಘ್ನಾಃ ಪ್ರಣಶ್ಯಂತಿ ಸಿದ್ಧ್ಯಂತಿ ಚ ಮನೋರಥಾಃ. ತಪಸ್ವಾಧ್ಯಾಯ ಶುಶ್ರೂಷಾ ಕೃಷ್ಣಪೂಜಾರತಂ ಮುನಿಂ ವಿಶ್ವೇಶಮಿಷ್ಟದಂ ವಂದೇ ಪರಿವ್ರಾಟ್ ಚಕ್ರವರ್ತಿನಂ. ವೇದಿಕಾಯಾಂ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷಸ್ಥಾನೆ ವಿರಾಜಮಾನಾನ್ स्वामीपादान् अभिवन्द्य एवं पुरतः ये जिज्ञासवः उपविष्टाः सन्ति विद्वांसः तानपि अभिवन्द्य विशिष्टः अयं कश्चन कार्यक्रमः. प्रायः इदं प्रथमतया चैतन्यमाध्वदर्शनविषये काचित् गोष्ठी समायोजिता माध्वक्षेत्रे. अतः एतादृशकार्यक्रमस्य समायोजकाः पूर्णप्रज्ञा संशोधनमन्दिरस्य निदेशकाः आचार्याः वीरनारायण पाण्डुरङ्गी महाभागाः वन्दनीयाः स्तुत्याश्च. यद्यपि अन्तर्जालद्वारा बहवः श्रोतारः अत्र विद्यन्ते, परन्तु प्रत्यक्षम् अत्र ये दृश्यन्ते ते अत्यन्तं स्वल्पाश्चेदपि चिन्ता नास्ति. आरम्भः अयं, क्रमशः एतस्य वृद्धिः भविष्यति परस्परं सहयोगेन इति मत्वा मम विषयमहम् अत्र प्रस्तोतुम् इच्छामि. यद्यपि दार्शनिकक्षेत्रे ये दार्शनिकाः स्वीयसिद्धान्तम् उपस्थापितवन्तः ते सर्वेपि पूर्वाचार्यैः प्रभाविताः भवन्ति सामान्यतः. अपि च ये नूतनतया सिद्धान्तम् उपस्थापयन्ति ते उत्तरत्र ये आगच्छन्ति तेषामुपरि प्रभावम् उपस्थापयन्ति च. अयं सामान्यक्रमः. परन्तु मध्वाचार्याणाम् एकं वचनं विद्यते, समयाः हि प्रवाहतः अनादिनित्याः इति. कोऽपि समयः नाम सिद्धान्तः अथवा दर्शनं. कोऽपि समयः अभिनवः इति वक्तुं न शक्यते, नूतनः इति वक्तुं न शक्यते. सर्वदा सर्वाणि अपि चिन्तनानि विद्यन्ते. परन्तु यस्मिन् काले कश्चित् महान् पुरुषः भुवि अवतार्य एकं सिद्धान्तं व्यवस्थितरूपेण उपस्थापयति, सः तत्सिद्धान्तप्रतिपादकः इति अस्माभिः व्यवह्रियते. एतत्तु अस्माकम् अनुभवसिद्धः विषयः. एवं शङ्कराचार्यैः अद्वैतसम्प्रदायः, रामानुजाचार्यैः विशिष्टाद्वैतसम्प्रदायः, एवं मध्वाचार्यैः माध्वसम्प्रदायः, तत्त्ववादसम्प्रदायः इति, एवं वल्लभाचार्य, निम्बार्काचार्य, एते सर्वेपि प्रायः वेदान्तशास्त्राणां मूलं भवति प्रस्थानत्रयं, जानन्त्येव. सूत्रप्रस्थानम्, उपनिषत्प्रस्थानं, गीताप्रस्थानम्. एतद्विहाय अन्यत्र कुत्रापि न गच्छन्ति ते, यतोहि एकं बौण्डरी अस्ति अस्माकं. तर्हि एतन्मध्ये विभिन्न अभिप्रायाः तत्र विभिन्नदार्शनिकैः उपस्थापिताः. तत्र कारणं किम् इत्युक्ते संस्कृतभाषायाः वैशिष्ट्यम् एव. यतोहि एकं पदम् अनेके अर्थाः, प्रकरणभेदात् अर्थाः भिद्यन्ते. आपाततः एकैकोऽपि शब्दः अनेकार्थयुतः. एवं संस्कृतभाषायाः वैशिष्ट्यकारणात्, अधुना संस्कृतभाषा इत्येव मास्तु, अन्यभाषासु अपि कश्चित् एकं वाक्यं प्रयुङ्क्ते कदाचित् तस्य अर्थं जनाः भिन्नभिन्नतया प्रसारयन्ति. यथा आधुनिकवृत्तपत्रिकासु वयं पश्यामः, कश्चित् प्रसिद्धपुरुषः एकं स्टेट्मेण्ट् प्रयच्छति चेत् तस्य अर्थः भिन्नः एव भवति सर्वत्रापि. व्यक्तिमाश्रित्य वाक्यचिन्तनम् इति भवति. अतः तर्हि किं भवति इत्युक्ते विभिन्नदर्शनानाम् आविष्कारे किं कारणमिति महान् प्रश्नः आधुनिकयुवकेषु भवति. यदि श्रुतिरेव प्रमाणं, भगवद्गीता एव प्रमाणम्, उपनिषदः एव प्रमाणं, तर्हि किमर्थम् एतावन्ति दर्शनानि आविष्कृतानि? किम् एते मूर्खाः वा इति आधुनिकजनानां मनसि अयं महान् प्रश्नः भवति. एतस्य कारणं तदेव वक्तुं शक्नुमः. संस्कृतभाषायाः वैशिष्ट्यम् अपि च शैली भिन्ना भिन्ना भवति सर्वत्रापि. नाम परोक्षप्रियाः वै देवाः इति. परोक्षप्रियाः यत्किमपि प्रतिपादनीयम् अस्ति तत् साक्षात् न प्रतिपादयन्ति, परन्तु परोक्षरूपेण प्रतिपादनं यदा भवति तदा क्लेशः जायते. तस्य तात्पर्यं किम् इति वक्तुं वयम् असमर्थाः भवेम. तदर्थं किं चिन्तनीयं भवति? सम्पूर्णं प्रकरणं किं भवति? तदर्थं शास्त्रदार्शनिकेषु अङ्गीकृतः सामान्यः कश्चन नियमः भवति. उपक्रम, उपसंहार, अभ्यास, अपूर्वतापरम्, अर्थवाद उपपत्ति च लिङ्गं तात्पर्यनिर्णये इति सर्वैः अयं क्रमः अङ्गीकृतः. तथापि भेदाः दृश्यन्ते इति तत्र महान् भेदः अस्ति. अस्तु, तत्रापि वैमत्यकारणानि बहूनि सन्ति. यतोहि व्यक्तिस्वरूपमाश्रित्य अर्थाविष्करणं. व्यक्तेः स्वरूपं प्रायः मध्वाचार्यैः एव एतत् प्रतिपादितं. व्यक्तेः स्वरूपं किं भवति इति. त्रैविध्यं तत्र भवति, सात्विकं, राजसं, तामसं च इति. तत् अङ्गीकुर्मश्चेदपि कापि हानिः नास्ति. अनङ्गीकारे प्रबलं कारणं किमपि नास्ति. प्रबलं कारणं किमपि नास्ति, यतोहि वयं न जानीमः जीवस्वरूपं. जीवमेव न जानीमः, प्रत्यक्षं द्रष्टुं न शक्नुमः. तर्हि तस्य स्वरूपं किं, तस्य गुणः कः इति वक्तुं वयं न शक्नुमः एव. परन्तु कार्येण कारणम् अनुमीयते. कार्येण कारणम् अनुमीयते नाम बाह्यलोके एकस्य पुरुषस्य व्यवहारः कीदृशः. यथा महाभारते वयं शृणुमः, जानामि धर्मं न च मे प्रवृत्तिः. कः वदति? दुर्योधनः. तर्हि तस्य प्रवृत्तिरेव नास्ति. सः अधर्मप्रियः इत्युक्ते सः तामसः स्यादेव. यदि किञ्चिदपि सत्त्वगुणं स्यात् तत्र, तर्हि तस्य मनसि एतादृश भावना कदाचिदपि नागच्छेत्. अतः एतादृशाः बहवः अधुना लोके दृश्यन्ते. भवन्तः कियद्वा शिक्षां प्रयच्छन्तु, ते कदापि परिवर्तनं न प्राप्नुवन्ति. तादृशाः अद्यापि लोके विद्यन्ते अस्माकं पुरतः. तर्हि मध्वाचार्यैः अनुभवसिद्धः अयं विषयः प्रतिपादितः. जीवेषु वैविध्यं विद्यते. यथा वृक्षस्य बीजानि भवन्ति खलु. निम्बवृक्षस्य बीजं वा भवतु, आम्रवृक्षस्य बीजं वा भवतु. बीजमित्युक्ते जीव इत्येव अर्थः. वृक्ष इत्युक्ते शरीरं. तर्हि बीजप्रभावतः वृक्षे व्यत्यासः दृश्यते. कुत्रचित् तिक्तफलानि उपलभ्यन्ते, कुत्रचित् मधुरफलानि उपलभ्यन्ते. एवं यद्यपि जीवविषये मध्वाचार्यैः यः अभिप्रायः प्रकाशितः, प्रायः सः अभिप्रायः चैतन्यसिद्धान्ते न अङ्गीकृतः इति भेदः प्रधानः अयम्. अनन्तरं मोक्षस्वरूपविषयेपि कश्चन भेदः विद्यते, परन्तु समाधानं तत्र कर्तुं कथञ्चित् वयं समाधानं कर्तुं शक्नुमः, साम्यम् उपपादयितुं शक्नुमः। मोक्षविषये, मोक्षसाधनविषये तु भक्तिरेव। तत्र प्रेमा भक्तिस्थितिः या विद्यते तदेव मोक्षस्थितिः इति चैतन्यसम्प्रदाये अङ्गीक्रियते। भवतु नाम तत्र अस्माभिः अनेकेषां ग्रन्थानां परिशीलनमपि अपेक्षते। यतोहि जीवगोस्वामिनां षट्सन्दर्भग्रन्थाः ये सन्ति, प्रमेयरत्नावली अस्ति, एवं भागवतस्य लघु भागवतामृतं गुरुभागवतामृतम् इति गोस्वामिभिः तत्र व्याख्यानद्वयम् उपलभ्यते। तत्र यदि गहन अध्ययनं शक्येत, अन्तः गत्वा प्रविश्य यदि वयम् अध्ययनं कुर्मः, अनेके विचाराः तत्र माध्वसिद्धान्तप्रभाविताः, अपि च मध्वाचार्याणां वा व्यासतीर्थानां वा अन्येषां ग्रन्थकाराणां वा साक्षात् वाक्यानि अथवा तत्त्वानि तत्र उपलभ्यन्ते। साक्षात् यथा यथं तैः स्वीकृतानि सन्ति तानि। मध्वाचार्याणां व्याख्यानस्य वैशिष्ट्यम् एकं भवति। मध्वाचार्याणां भाष्यस्वरूपम् अत्यन्तं अल्पं भवति। सुदीर्घं भाष्यं मध्वाचार्याः कुत्रापि न लिखन्ति। स्वीयचिन्तनानि तैः न उपस्थापितानि। तेषां शैली का इत्युक्ते वेद व्यास वचनानां व्याख्यानं कथं कर्तव्यं। वेदवचनानि नाम उपनिषदः, उपनिषदां भाष्याणि लिखितानि, अनन्तरं व्यासवचनानि नाम ब्रह्मसूत्राणि तथा भगवद्गीता। प्रस्थानत्रये प्रधानतया मध्वाचार्यैः अन्यभाष्याणि अपि विरचितानि, परन्तु प्रस्थानत्रयं यदि वयं स्वीकृत्य चर्चां कुर्मः तर्हि तत्र आचार्याणां व्याख्यानशैली कथं भवति इत्युक्ते वेदव्यासवचनैः एव वेदव्यासवचनानां व्याख्यानं। यस्, नाम मध्वाचार्याः स्वकीयम् अभिप्रायम् अधिकतया कुत्रापि न निवेशयन्ति। केवलम् एकं पदं स्वीकृत्य तस्य अर्थः अप्रसिद्धश्चेत् तदेव वदन्ति, अप्रसिद्धार्थश्चेत् वदन्ति स्वीयवचनेन। प्रायः 99% मध्वाचार्याणां भाष्ये कुत्रापि स्वीयवचनानि न सन्ति। वेदव्यासवचनैः वेदव्यासवचनानां निरूपणम्। एतादृशी शैली कुत्रापि नोपलभ्यते। तथा मध्वाचार्यैः उट्टङ्कितानि अथवा उल्लिखितानि पुराणवचनानि वा स्मृतिवचनानि वा अथवा श्रुतिवचनानि वा भवन्तु, अत्यन्तम् अपूर्वाणि भवन्ति। नाम पूर्वाचार्यैः कैरपि न उल्लिखितानि। अतः मध्वाचार्यैः महाभारततात्पर्यनिर्णये एकं वाक्यमुक्तं। कश्चन श्लोकः विद्यते, क्वचित् ग्रन्थान् प्रक्षिपन्ति क्वचिदन्तरितानपि कुर्युः क्वचिच्च व्यत्यासं प्रमादात् क्वचिदन्यथ इति उक्त्वा कोट्यंशोऽपि न विद्यते। अद्य उपलभ्यमान श्रुतिपुराणादिग्रन्थानां मध्ये कोट्यंशः, कोटिमध्ये एकः अंशः अपि नोपलभ्यते। तथा पोल्यूषन् नाम प्रदूषणं, ग्रन्थप्रदूषणं जातम् इति मध्वाचार्याः अभिप्रयन्ति। तथापि भगवत्प्रसादतः निर्णयान् वच्मि। अहं भगवत्प्रसादतः एव देशे देशे तथा ग्रन्थान् दृष्ट्वा चैव पृथग्विधान्, नाम कस्यचित् संशोधकस्य कार्यम् आचार्याः दर्शयन्ति। देशे देशे तथा ग्रन्थान् बहुत्र तैः अटनं कृतं। तत्र उपलभ्यमानाः ये ग्रन्थाः सन्ति तान् दृष्ट्वा दृष्ट्वा परिशीलनं कृत्वा आचार्यैः भाष्यं विरचितम्। एकत्र उपविश्य एवमेव भवतु मम चिन्तनम् इति आचार्यैः भाष्यं न विरचितं। तादृश अपूर्व उल्लेखनानि जीवगोस्वामिनां षट्सन्दर्भग्रन्थे बलदेव विद्याभूषण महाभागानां गोविन्दभाष्ये च बहुत्र मध्वाचार्यैः उदाहृतानि अपूर्व उल्लेखनानि यानि सन्ति रेफरेन्सस् तानि सर्वाणि अत्र उपलभ्यन्ते, अन्यभाष्येषु नास्ति। तर्हि मध्वाचार्याणां भाष्यस्य प्रभावः चैतन्यसम्प्रदाये अत्यन्तं विद्यते इति केवलम् उल्लेखनविषये नैव, जीवस्वरूपविषये, जीवपरिमाणविषये न्यायामृतग्रन्थे या चर्चा विहिता सा चर्चा यथायथं षट्सन्दर्भे उपलभ्यते। तर्हि एवमेव मध्वाचार्यैः प्रप्रथमतया ऐदं प्राथम्येन ब्रह्मसूत्राणां प्रामाण्यम् उपस्थापितम्। अन्यैः आचार्यैः ब्रह्मसूत्राणां प्रामाण्यं नैव उपस्थापितं, साक्षात् व्याख्यानमेव विहितं। तैः ब्रह्मसूत्राणां साक्षात् व्याख्यानं, तत्रापि अनेके विप्रतिपद्यन्ते, किं वेदव्यासः भगवदवतारः वा न वा इत्यपि केचन विप्रतिपद्यन्ते, विप्रतिपत्तिरस्ति तत्र। एवं मध्वाचार्यैः प्रप्रथमतया ब्रह्मसूत्राणां प्रामाण्यम् उपस्थापितं। कथम् उपस्थापितं? स्कान्दवचनेन। तदेव स्कान्दवचनं जीवगोस्वामिभिः स्वीय षट्सन्दर्भग्रन्थे ब्रह्मसूत्राणां प्रामाण्यसमर्थनसन्दर्भे तैः अपि तदेव पुराणवचनम् उल्लिखितं विद्यते। तत्र तदहं पठामि। तत्त्वसन्दर्भे एवमस्ति: नारायणाद्विनिष्पन्नं ज्ञानं कृतयुगे स्थितं किञ्चित् तदन्यथा जातं त्रेता। एतत् सर्वमपि मध्वाचार्यैः स्कान्दवचनं तथैव उल्लिखितं, तथैव जीवगोस्वामिभिः अपि उल्लिखितं। नाम तेपि तादृश अभिप्रायवन्तः इति, तेन प्रभाविताः इत्यपि ज्ञायते। तत्त्वसन्दर्भे अनुच्छेदः भवति 16, पृष्ठसङ्ख्या भवति 64। ओके, तर्हि तत्त्वसन्दर्भे मध्वाचार्याणां वचनं तथैव स्वीकृतमस्ति जीवगोस्वामिभिः। किमर्थं? सूत्राणां प्रामाण्यसमर्थनाय। एवं इतिहासपुराणानां विषये जीवगोस्वामिनाम् अभिप्रायः कः, मध्वाचार्याणाम् अभिप्रायः कः इति यदि वयं चर्चां कुर्मः, चिन्तनं कुर्मः, तत्र कश्चन भेदः दृश्यते। यद्यपि मध्वाचार्यैः शैवान् पाशुपताच्चक्रे संशयार्थं सुरद्विषः ब्राह्माश्च वेदतश्चक्रे इत्यादि वचनैः महाभारततात्पर्यनिर्णये पुराणेषु शैवभागः विद्यते, ब्राह्मभागः विद्यते, एवं वैष्णवभागः विद्यते इत्येव उक्तं। परन्तु पुराणेषु त्रैविध्यं, नाम पुराणानाम् 18 पुराणानां तत्र षट् पुराणानि इति विभागः तैः न दर्शितः। परन्तु पुराणेषु 18 पुराणेषु शैवभागः विद्यते, ब्राह्मभागः विद्यते, वैष्णवभागः विद्यते इति उक्तं। कुत्रापि मध्वाचार्यैः वा तत्समनन्तरकाले समागताः व्याख्यानकाराः श्रीमज्जयतीर्थमुनयः वा कुत्रापि सत्त्वरजस्तमो विषयकशब्दं न व्यवहरन्ति, कुत्रापि न उल्लिखन्ति। परन्तु अग्रिमकाले यदा चैतन्यमहाप्रभोः कालः यः भवति तस्मिन्नेव काले व्यासतीर्थाः, वादिराजतीर्थाः एते सर्वेपि आसन् माध्वसम्प्रदाये। तत्काले तावत् माध्वसम्प्रदायेपि दृश्यते राजससात्विकतामसपुराणानां विभागः दृश्यते। विजयेन्द्रतीर्थानां ग्रन्थेषु दृश्यते, वादिराजतीर्थानां ग्रन्थेषु दृश्यते। तत्काले सः कश्चन विशिष्टः क्रमः तत्र दृश्यते, पुराणानां विभागक्रमः एतस्य। परन्तु जीवगोस्वामिभिः यानि वाक्यानि उदाह्रियन्ते एतदर्थं तत्र श्रीवैष्णवसम्प्रदायस्य रामानुजीयसम्प्रदायस्य वेदान्तदेशिकानां वचनानि कानिचित् साक्षात् स्वीकृतानि. यतोहि जीवगोस्वामिनः भागवतव्याख्यानसन्दर्भे ते स्वयं कथयन्ति, क्वचित् अहं रामानुजसम्प्रदायस्यापि प्रमेयं स्वीकरोमि, क्वचिदहं माध्वसम्प्रदायस्य, क्वचिदहम् अन्यसम्प्रदायस्यापि व्याख्यानं स्वीकरोमि इति स्वयं प्रतिज्ञायां ते उपपादयन्ति. अस्तु, नाम स्वीकारयोग्याः अंशाः सन्ति चेत् ते तत्रस्थ नाम विष्णुपारम्यप्रतिपादने प्रतिबन्धकाश्चेत् त्यजन्ति, न प्रतिबन्धकाश्चेत् तत् स्वीकुर्वन्ति इति क्रमः तेषां व्याख्याने दृश्यते. अत्रापि सात्विकराजसतामसपुराणानां विभागक्रमेपि तैः तद्वचनानि नाम रामानुजीयसम्प्रदाये यानि वचनानि सन्ति नाम ते रामानुजीयानां सम्पूर्णतया ते न अङ्गीकुर्वन्ति अभिप्रायं. कुतः इत्युक्ते रामानुजसम्प्रदाये किमस्ति, वेदव्यासः भगवान् यदा अवस्थात्रयं भगवतः वेदव्यासस्य अङ्गीकुर्वन्ति, सात्विकभावना यदा आसीत्, राजसभावना यदा आसीत्, तामसभावना यदा आसीत्, तत्तत् सन्दर्भे तानि तानि पुराणानि विरचितानि भगवता वेदव्यासेन इति ते प्रतिपादयन्ति. परन्तु विष्णुपारम्यविरुद्धम् एतत् विरुद्धमेव. भगवतः विष्णोः सात्विकगुणत्रयरहितः सः, गुणत्रयप्रभावः भगवतः विष्णोः न भवितुमर्हति. अतः यत् रामानुजीयैः प्रतिपादितं तत् सम्पूर्णतया न अङ्गीकुर्वन्ति जीवगोस्वामिनः, परन्तु सात्विकराजसतामस सन्दर्भे इति ते प्रतिपादयन्ति, परन्तु सम्पूर्ण अङ्गीकारः तैः न कृतः. तत्र सन्दर्भे नाम श्रोतारः जनाः ये सन्ति सात्विकान् उद्दिश्य, राजसान् उद्दिश्य, तामसान् उद्दिश्य इत्येव तत्र अर्थः स्वीकर्तव्यः. यतोहि तेषां यथा रामानुजसम्प्रदाये वाक्यानि सन्ति तानि सम्पूर्णतया न स्वीकृतानि, एवं प्रमाणतया न स्वीकृतानि. एवं नाम ते भगवदवतारत्वं नाङ्गीकुर्वन्ति. अतः कश्चित् ऋषिः अतः तेषां क्लेशः एव नास्ति. यद्यपि तेपि विष्णुसर्वोत्तमत्वप्रतिपादकाः एव, न विष्णुः, अतः तेषां क्लेशः नास्ति. नहीं, अद्वैतिनः केचन अङ्गीकुर्वन्ति, विष्णु अवतारत्वम् अङ्गीकुर्वन्ति ते अस्ति, परन्तु क्वचित् बहूनां तत्र सम्मतिः अस्ति. बादरायणः साक्षात् कृष्णः इति अस्त्येव तेषां सम्प्रदाये, नाङ्गीकुर्वन्ति. नाम ते मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति किञ्चित्. नाम तदानीन्तनकालप्रभावः आचार्यः तत्र प्रायः 15-16 शतके 14शतकादारभ्य एव दृश्यते सात्विकराजसतामसपुराणानां विभागः. कथञ्चित् सर्वैः अपि प्रायः अद्वैतसम्प्रदाये तद्विषये चर्चा एव नास्ति. केवलं वैष्णवाः ये सन्ति तेषां मध्ये एव चर्चा आसीत्. रामानुजीयाः यतोहि वेदान्तदेशिकैः क्वचित् उच्यते स्वीयग्रन्थे अस्मत्सन्निहितसिद्धान्ते इति वदन्ति ते. एतादृशसन्दर्भे अस्मत्सन्निहितसिद्धान्तः नाम माध्वसिद्धान्तः. माध्वसिद्धान्तसम्मतिरस्ति इति कृत्वा एवं तत्र परिहारः शक्यते इति तैः स्वीयग्रन्थे प्रतिपादितं विद्यते. परन्तु एते नाङ्गीकुर्वन्ति तथा. यतोहि तत्रैव जीवगोस्वामिनां वचनमस्ति, वेदवन्निश्चलं मन्ये पुराणार्थं द्विजोत्तमाः यो वेद चतुरो वेदान् साङ्गोपनिषदो द्विजः पुराणं नैव जानाति न च सस्याद्विचक्षणः. एतत्तु अस्माकं मध्वाचार्याणामपि मध्वभाष्ये उपलभ्यते, किञ्चित् व्यत्यस्य उपलभ्यते एतदेव वचनं. तर्हि पुराणानां प्रामाण्यं तावत् वेदवत् निश्चलं मन्ये इति ते प्रतिपादयन्ति, परन्तु सात्विकपुराणानाम् इति नोक्तं तैः। समेषां पुराणानां प्रामाण्यं ते अङ्गीकुर्वन्ति इति अनेन कारणेन रामानुजीयसम्प्रदाये यः अभिप्रायः विद्यते सः अभिप्रायः एतेषां न सम्मतः इति स्पष्टं ज्ञायते। मध्वाचार्याणां यः अभिप्रायः विद्यते पुराणानां विषये सैव अभिप्रायः एतेषां भवति। नाम अस्माभिः मयापि कश्चन प्रयत्नः तद्विषये कृतः। अत्र विप्रतिपत्तिरस्ति। का इत्युक्ते मोहनार्थम् इति तु भवतु। इदानीं वेदव्यासस्य अवतार उद्देशः कः? सज्जनेषु पुनः ज्ञानसंस्थापनं। यतोहि सर्वेपि तस्मिन् सन्दर्भे भ्रान्त्या वा संशयेन वा पीडिताः आसन्। ज्ञानं लुप्तप्रायमेव आसीत् इति तु सिद्धमेव। यदि तत् सिद्धमस्ति तस्य पुनः स्थापनार्थं भगवता वेदव्यासेन राजसपुराणानां तामसपुराणानां निर्माणं किमर्थं? यतोहि सिद्धमेव तत्। केवलं सज्जनेषु ज्ञानसंस्थापनमेव अपेक्षते, तदर्थं प्रयत्नः क्रियताम्। तत्तु कृतं। कथं कृतम् इत्युक्ते वेदविभागेन, ब्रह्मसूत्राणां विरचनेन, महाभारतसंरचनेन, अनन्तरम् 18 पुराणानां निर्माणेन। तर्हि 18 पुराणानाम् उद्दिष्टं तावत् तदेव, ज्ञानसंस्थापनार्थमेव तत् कृतं। तर्हि मोहार्थानि शैवान् पाशुपताच्चक्रे संशयार्थं सुरद्विषः इति अस्ति खलु, तत् कथं योजनीयम् इत्युक्ते त्रिविक्रमपण्डितैः तत्र परिहारः दर्शितः दर्शनभाषाभेदेन इति। भाषाभेदः, रीतिभेदः तत्र विद्यते। तेन ये अयोग्याः सन्ति ते भ्रान्ताः सञ्जाताः। परन्तु भ्रान्त्यर्थमेव एतेषां पुराणानां रचनम् इति तु न संगच्छते इति मम।
सात्विकपुराणपठनेन पुनः ज्ञानसम्पत्तिं प्राप्य पुनः ज्ञानं यदि प्राप्नुवन्ति ते।
नैव सात्विकपुराणेषु अपि यानि सात्विकपुराणानि इति परिगणितानि तेषु अपि एतादृशभागाः सन्ति। अतः भवद्भिः षट् इति यः विभागः प्रदर्शितः सः सर्वथा अनुचितः। कूर्मपुराणस्य तामसपुराणे परिगणनं कृतं विद्यते, परन्तु तत्र आरम्भे एव उच्यते नारायणस्य माहात्म्यप्रकाशनार्थमेव इदं पुराणम् इति आरम्भे विद्यते। कथं सङ्गच्छते? विभागस्तु न समीचीनः। तर्हि अस्माकं सिद्धान्तेपि विभागः द्वेधा दृश्यते। नाम एतान्येव षट्पुराणानि तामसानि इति वक्तुं तत्रापि निर्णायकं किमपि नास्ति। वादराजतीर्थैः एकविधः क्रमः प्रदर्शितः, सत्त्वरत्नमाला इति कश्चन ग्रन्थः, तत्रापि भिन्नः क्रमः आश्रितः। तर्हि कः तत्र प्रामाणिकः इति वक्तुम् अस्माकं क्लेशः जायते। तदर्थं मध्वाचार्यैः कुत्रापि सात्विकराजसतामसशब्दाः न प्रयुक्ताः। केवलं शैवान् पाशुपताच्चक्रे संशयार्थं सुरद्विषः ब्राह्मणाच् इतोपि टीकायां न्यायसुधायां क्वचित् आगच्छति। न स्मरामि कुत्र इति, मम प्रबन्धे विद्यते। तत्र निर्णयसन्दर्भे उपपुराणानि यानि सन्ति, नाम तानि पुराणानि महापुराणान्याश्रित्य मुनिभिः संरचितानि, तानि मोहकानि भवन्ति इति टीकायां तत्र क्वचित् तत्र सङ्केतः दत्तः एतस्य व्याख्यानस्य। नाम आधारः सः भवति इति वक्तुं शक्यते। तत्सर्वं चर्चितं विद्यते मम प्रबन्धे, कदाचित् द्रष्टुं शक्नुवन्ति। अस्तु, तर्हि एतेषाम् अभिप्रायः तथा विद्यते। तत् कथम् इत्युक्ते एतेषां वचनम् एवमस्ति: पञ्चाङ्गञ्च पुराणं स्यात् आख्यानम् इतरस्मृतं सात्विकेषु च कल्पेषु ಮಾಹಾತ್ಮ್ಯಂ ಅಧಿಕಂ ಹರೇಃ ರಾಜಸೇಷು ಚ ಮಾಹಾತ್ಮ್ಯಂ ಅಧಿಕಂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಣೋ ವಿದುಃ ತದ್ವದಗ್ನೇಶ್ಚ ಮಾಹಾತ್ಮ್ಯಂ ತಾಮಸೇಷು ಶಿವಸ್ಯ ಚ ಸಂಕೀರ್ಣೇಷು ಸರಸ್ವತ್ಯಾಃ ಪಿತॄಣಾಂಚ ನಿಗದ್ಯತೆ ಇತಿ ತತ್ವಸಂದರ್ಭೆ ಇದಂ ವಾಕ್ಯಂ ವಿದ್ಯತೆ. एवं पुरुषतत्त्वमुद्दिश्यैव एतत् योजयितुं शक्यते. अतः रामानुजीयानां प्रभावः सम्पूर्णतया अत्र न दृश्यते इति वक्तुं शक्यते. परन्तु गच्छता कालेन माध्वसम्प्रदाये किम् आगतम् इत्युक्ते यदि तामसानि पुराणानि पठन्ति नरकं भवति, सात्विकपुराणानि पठन्ति चेदेव मोक्षः इति क्रमः आगतः. सः क्लेशाय कल्पते. अस्ति उल्लिखितं मया. तत्र व्याख्यानमपि कृतं. सात्विकत्वं नाम किं, राजसत्वं नाम किं, तामसत्वं नाम किम् इति. नरकप्राप्त्यर्थमेव निर्मितं पुराणम् इति. मोहकत्वं नागच्छति. स्पष्टतया नोक्तं तत्र. एवं भागवतस्य तु स्थानम् अत्युन्नतं भवति गौडीयसिद्धान्ते. तत् वेदतुल्यं तत् अस्माभिरपि अङ्गीक्रियते. एवं तत्रापि अस्ति इति अहं वदामि. तदेव न किमपि पुराणं वयं तादृशम् उदाहर्तुं शक्नुमः सम्पूर्णतया सात्विकम् इति. नाम आपातदृष्ट्या अस्माकं मम अभिप्रायः 18 पुराणानि व्यासविरचितानि सर्वाणि अपि सात्विकान्येव. नाम सात्विकान् नाम कः अर्थः? मोक्षसाधनभूतानि. एवं प्रमाणानि इति. अतः एव उच्यते भाषात्रयं न जानाति रीतीनां शतमेव च पुराणार्थं वदन्याति नरकं नात्र संशयः इति. यत्किमपि वा पुराणं भवतु भाषाज्ञानं स्यात्. यथा अधुना मिलिटरि मध्ये कोड् वर्ड्स् इति भवन्ति. अज्ञात्वा किमपि करोति चेत् जगतः एव विश्वस्य देशस्यैव हानिः स्यात् खलु. यदि अज्ञानेन भाषाज्ञानं विना सः प्रवर्तेत हानिरेव स्यात्. तदेव एवं तदेव उक्तम्. एवं अपि च यस् तदर्थमेव इदानीं षट् इति यः विभागः कृतः सः अनुपपन्नः इति. सर्वेषु पुराणेषु तादृशभागाः सन्ति. अपि च जीवगोस्वामिनः क्वचित् कथयन्ति वेदानां वा पुराणानां वा अथवा अन्यग्रन्थानां वा व्याख्यानं कर्तव्यं चेत् सूत्रग्रन्थ एव आश्रयणीयः इति तत्त्वसन्दर्भे क्वचित् तैः उल्लेखः कृतः. तस्य कारणं किम् इत्युक्ते तस्मात् सूत्रार्थमागृह्य कर्तव्यशास्त्रनिर्णयः मध्वाचार्याणां वचनं. तस्य प्रभावः तत्र स्पष्टतया दृश्यते. एवं अनेके अंशाः तत्र सन्ति. सर्वमपि वक्तुं न शक्नोमि अहम्. एतावदुक्त्वा प्रायः विशेषविषयाः मया प्रतिपादिताः सन्ति. एतावद् एव उक्त्वा आचार्य वीरनारायण पाण्डुरङ्गी महाभागानां सन्ति अत्र समायोजकाः एवं तेषां गणः विद्यते. सर्वेषामपि कृतज्ञतां समर्प्य विरमामि अहं. कृष्णार्पणमस्तु.
doubts or any questions regarding this paper, you can ask. So one observation is there about the premises of your paper, which mentioned that the Samskrita has a unique quality because of which there are a lot of translations or a lot of different kind of opinions are there. But I think that not because of certain language, it is because of certain time. So as you observe in the bhasha, as you observe in the paristhiti, as you can observe in the Bible also, you have a lot of variations now. In the Quran also we have a lot of variations. And if you observe the Platonic scriptures also, there are a lot of different kind of opinions are expressed by various people. So the language is, I think it's a tool, but it's more like thinkers. If there are many thinkers, if there are many intelligent people come out in that Siddhanta, the many different opinions will arrive in that Siddhanta. That is.
मध्वाचार्यैः यथा भागवते प्रतिपादितम् अन्यत्रापि न केवलं पुराणेषु भाषाभेदः विद्यते, वेदेषु अपि उपलभ्यन्ते, स्मृतिग्रन्थेषु अपि उपलभ्यन्ते भाषाभेदाः, रीतयः अपि सर्वत्रापि उपलभ्यन्ते। अतः सर्वत्रापि अतः भाषाभेदोऽपि नाम ग्रन्थस्य या शैली भवति सा शैली
कदाचिदपि भवति।
भ्रान्तिं जनयति।
तत्र कश्चन विद्वान् स्यात् यः भिन्नतया व्याख्यानं कर्तुं शक्नुयात्।
तदर्थमेव वैषम्यनैर्घण्य निकरणं प्रवर्तते। कथं कर्तुं शक्यते इति क्लेशः।
Narad Muni travels all over the universe. He goes to hellish planets also to deliver people in hell. Why would he go to hell? Yes. No, but Narad Muni constantly travels on behalf of the Supreme Lord. That is Supreme Lord's mercy. He has got his messengers to go to hell. Prabhupada went to hellish place on the earth in America, amid the hippies, to deliver them.
And there is one adhikarana in Madhvacharya's Bhashya that Ishvara himself, God himself lives in all the planets. He is there in hell also, but he does not experience any undesired thing.
He is in hell means he is in everybody's heart. He is always with the jiva. That's not a jiva in the material world. After that, he is directly, visible to the people in the spiritual world.
Another point, that is in the same context of Tatvavada and Jiva Goswami is talking about the Puranas. One point he makes that other than Bhagavad Purana, no other Purana is existing without what you can say interpolations. Yes. The only thing not, and he gives his reasons that are very much valid. One of them is that Bhagavad Purana is commented like the most widely, and it is preserved from the Madhvacharya's time till today. We have, even though there are some variations here and there, they're very small, but it's not that Bhagavad Purana is interpreted. That's why we should take Bhagavad Purana as pramana and compared to other Puranas.
इतर पुराणापेक्षया भागवत पुराणस्य संरक्षणं जातं सम्प्रदाये यतोहि इतरपुराणानां वाचनं वा अथवा प्रवचनं वा तद्विषये व्याख्यानादिकं वा बहु नासीत्। क्वचित् स्यात् कदाचित् हिन्दी भाषा अनुवादः इत्यादिकं स्यात्।
But his question on Jiva Traivika is not answered. If we understand Jiva Traivika from scriptures, and we are convinced there are three kinds of jivas. One kind of jivas are incorrigible. They are incorrigible. Because they are incorrigible, they They should be condemned. If they are amenable to correction, God helps them to be corrected and they will be lifted up. If they are incorrigible,
It is something that Bhagwan cannot do.
No, he will.
there comes the question of yogyata of jivas or swabhava of jivas. God does not change swabhava. Therefore, some remain incorrigible because of their swabhava. There they stand condemned. That is, God's will means Vedas say that. And God does not go against Vedas. Vedas say that.
It's like Prime Minister can avoid the traffic signal. Of course, he can avoid, but he abide by the law. That's why he doesn't do that.
ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ.
I have a question. Tattva Sandarbha, the work you have mentioned. Does that work speak of achintya bheda bheda?
यद्यपि सम्पूर्णतया अवलोकनं न कृतं तस्य ग्रन्थस्य अचिन्त्यभेदाभेदविषये ते तत्र स्पष्टतया न वदन्ति कुत्रापि न नाम मया
I have seen in the Sarva Sanyamini or Samvadini,
सर्वसम्मति
he has mentioned that that morning I quoted from
Baldeva has explained.
बलदेव यस् गोविन्दभाष्ये उपलब्धि
Govinda Bhashya, but it is not clear. It requires some clarification.
No, I can answer. See, actually the term Achintya Veda Veda is used by Jiva Goswami
So
only
please
twice.
come here, and speak with the mic. You can come here.
That's fine. I'm okay. The term Achintya Veda Veda is used by Jiva Goswami only twice in entire 6 sandarbhas. So one place he said that what is Achintya is actually the Swarup Shakti of the Lord and the Lord himself. Swarup Shakti, not the Tatastha Shakti Jiva. The other place he was talking about Nimitta and Upadana Karana in relation to that. But actually Jiva Goswami did not even say in a single place that Jiva is simultaneously one and different from Ishvara in the Sandarbhas.
So, what is the meaning of the term Veda?
Lord's Antaranga Shakti is not different from the Lord. But not
That is Abheda.
Beda and Abeda, simultaneously one and different. Beda, Beda.
Acharya,
शक्ति शक्तिमतो
Shakti.
Why you bring that Veda element regarding God? Ayavatava vigunas chetu tatha Veda Veda.
Samichinam Acharya.
Some people may think there is bheda, but there is no bheda. Actually, it is. I am to quote our Acharya. He said, I have searched many texts of Chaitanya Sampradaya. I have not understood the Achintya Bheda Bheda as something different. It is only another word for the vishvesha. It is what Swamiji. It seems to be. He seems to be.
ಅವರಿಗೆ
True.
ವಿಶೇಷ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನು ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ ಅಚಿಂತ್ಯ ಅಂತ
Why I want some clarification from those.
It is only nomenclature. I hope nothing there is. Please come here and take the mic. Come. Go there.
ज्ञानी नास्मि अहं परन्तु किञ्चित् प्रयासं करोमि भेदाभावेपि भेदव्यवहारं विशेषं तर्हि भगवद्रूपे कोऽपि भेदः नास्ति परन्तु विशेषः भवति सो देट् कान्सेप्ट् is brought even in Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam and all these things. It is just the Vishesha Bhava. And Achintyatva means Swatantra is not there. Jiva is not having Swatantra, but still it is Dvaita. So that is the only Achintyatva. So,
God himself is identical with the Achintya Shakti. That's why it is Achintya Bheda Bheda.
What?
The term Achintya actually means beyond comprehension. What is beyond comprehension? God's gunas. And it's their identity with God. It's incomprehensible. It's beyond comprehension. Therefore, how does that gunas are infinite, God is one? And how does that infinity and oneness work? There we bring in that achintya. It's not comprehensible. It's beyond our comprehension. But it is there. It is beyond our comprehension.
Yeah, I think the terminology of Abheda regarding to the Bimba of Sarupa, means my Bimba,
Yeah.
and the Brahma. The Abheda in between that. Bheda in between Jiva and Bimba. This is what they meant by Bheda.
Bheda.
Yes. This is nothing different than Madhva philosophy.
Bimbas are indifferent. Bimbas are identical. Bimbas are identical.
No, Bimbas, like in every other...
They are identical.
Yeah.
And jivas are not identical.
Yeah, yes, of course.
Therefore,
yes,
Veda
yes.
and Abheda.
Yes.
Just because of the Shakti.
Yeah.
Jivas are tatastha. So
What we call as a Bimba, they call it as a Chaitanya. Anu Chaitanya.
Anu Chaitanya.
Huh?
that is Vibhu Chaitanya.
Yeah, this is Vibhu Chaitanya, that is Anu Chaitanya. Vibhu Chaitanya and Vibhu Chaitanya, they are identical. Abheda. Bheda is between Jiva and the Bimba. Or Chaitanya.
That is between Vibhu Chaitanya and Anu Chaitanya.
Chaitanya. There is a identity. But here there is no identity. That is the Bheda. That's itself. No, not like after listening to the Bheda, we go directly to the Tata Sankhya,
Yeah.
and we think that there is a Yavadravya Bhavi, Ayavadravya Bhavi, that kind. That is different.
That idea is not there.
Yeah, that idea is not there.
I think it has become more like, just like Tatvavada, Vyavaharika has become Dvaitavada. So similarly,
Correct.
Tatvavada only.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, please come.
परन्तु एतदपि चिन्तनीयं यथा विशिष्टाद्वैते स्थूल चिदचित् विशिष्टा सूक्ष्म चिदचित् विशिष्टा इति तैः प्रतिपाद्यते तद्वदेव एतैः अपि जगद्विशिष्टः जगदन्तर्भावितः जीवः स्वीक्रियते तत्र जगदपि अन्तर्गतं तत्र
बोधः न भवति
नाम नैव अचिन्त्यभेदाभेदः इति उच्यते खलु अचिन्त्यभेदाभेदः कयोः ईश्वरजीवयोः नैव प्रपञ्चस्यापि अस्ति खलु प्रपञ्चस्यापि वदन्ति ते सर्व जीवान्तर्भावितः प्रपञ्चः सर्वोऽपि जडपदार्थाः अपि तत्र अन्तर्गताः न केवलं जीवमुद्दिश्य
जीवपरमात्मनोऽपि भेदाभेदः
नाम शक्तिस्वरूपत्वं सर्वस्यापि अङ्गीक्रियते आचार्यः शक्तिस्वरूपत्वं सर्वस्यापि अङ्गीक्रियते नाम सर्वत्रापि जडेपि शक्तिरस्ति जीवेपि शक्तिरस्ति सा शक्तिः ईश्वरशक्तिरित्येव तथापि भेदः अपि अस्ति अभेदः अपि अस्ति इति तेषां सम्प्रदायः
अभेदः कयोः न तु जगद् ब्रह्मणोः वा जीवब्रह्मणोः वा अभेदः नास्ति
शक्तिमेव ते तत्र स्वीकुर्वन्ति तत् कथमिति तत् न ज्ञायते
न आचार्य तथैव तत् सामानाधिकरणेन ते व्यवहारं कुर्वन्ति जीवस्य च
द्वैविध्यमस्ति
तदेव
तत्रापि वैमत्यमस्ति
एतस्मिन् विषये शक्तिमतः स्वतन्त्रता नास्ति शक्ति यस्मिन् स्वतन्त्रता नास्ति तत्कारणे एव तत् अभेद इति शब्दम् उक्तम् इति मम विचारः चेत् तस्मिन् विशिष्टाद्वैतरीत्या अभेद
नास्ति तथा नास्ति परन्तु शक्तिविषये
लक्ष्मी अनपायिनी विषये अपि तादृशी एव भवति लक्ष्मी नारायण एकस्थाने उभयोरपि सन्ति
Actually, I am not a Sanskrit scholar, but for my understanding of Gaudiya text, so it is sometimes used in two ways. One is, as said, it is inconceivable. I mean, achintya is used that way, and sometimes the achintya that is used when as a logical category, you can say, because the bheda and abheda. I mean, you cannot say it's bheda always. I mean, it cannot say it is abheda only. I mean, when both aspects are simultaneously reconciled, that's otherwise not an, it's a different logical category we can think of. No, that is why it is achintya. I mean, achintya. I mean, if it had been only the only distinction or only identity, then it is chintya.
There is only two positions you can take with the Brahman.
Now that is why sometimes it is said that you can think of as a new logical category, and reconciliation, as he said, it's a vishvesha. Madhvacharya's the idea of vishvesha, the Sakti Parinama, the relation, Sakti-Saktiman relation, it's actually, you cannot say that Sakti has a different identity as an independent Swatantra identity. It is Paratantra, as Madhvacharya says. At the same time, it has a distinction, as Madhvacharya has also said. I would say the philosophy of Madhvacharya and Gaudiya understanding, they are not different, but where the emphasis is put. In the Madhvas, the commentaries and all, of course, I admit very limited understanding, but the emphasis is kept on the interpretational, emphasis is kept on the distinction part, but the relation part, which is the identity part, the Sakti-Saktiman relation, that is more emphasized in the Gaudiya text and Gaudiya understanding. So, in a sense, it's actually, even the Madhvacharya's understanding or even the Gaudiya's understanding, so it said the Veda and Aveda, it has to exist simultaneously. If I make them distinct only Veda, then Jiva or the Prakriti, everything has to be Swatantra. That's not the case. That is Paratantra. So that connection of Paratantra, that's the relation, and when we emphasize that more in the Gaudiya understanding, so apparently there is a contradiction that appears. So that's my little humble, you can correct.
चर्चा अस्ति न पठितं सा भागः न पठितं बहु दीर्घा चर्चा अस्ति द्वैतभाष्ये.
With the term inconceivable, actually there is a term inexplicable. It was actually used by Radhagandana. He is a great scholar of Achintya Vedanta. In his Gauriya Vaishnava Darshan, Sri Rajan Sade, he has actually very much went into it. And why Achintya? It is there. I don't remember the whole thing, but even the Shastra Pramanas are there. Why this is Achintya? Achintya is not something which is inconceivable or something like that. It's not Asambhava, Kapushpa, Shashastringa, not like that.
The reconciliation of both Veda and Aveda.
That is inexplicable. That can be conceived.
It is not like Shashastringa.
Asambhavana.
It is not possible.
Yeah, exactly.
But the word Chintya and Achintya go to the origin of the word. Chintya and Achintya. Chintya is object of thinking. Which is object of thinking is Chintya. Which is not object of thinking is Achintya.
But this is not Anvartasana. This is a technical term.
This is
Achintya Shabda itself is a technical term.
Technical term. So what is the
would have a lot more meaning in that. So we'll have to go by that only. In Sarvasamadhini, I don't remember it properly, but in Sarvasamadhini itself, there is a I don't remember the reference. There is a reference why this is Achintya. If I can get it by tomorrow, I'll just present it here.
Okay. I thank Narayana Acharya for presenting. Pratosh, I request you to take the dais. So now, this is all theoretical part. What we now just heard about, this is all theoretical part. So we can discuss as many years as possible. But now what we need is a practical part. The practical part is being lived by our Acharya, Dr. Vishvaprassana. principal of Vedavyasa Gurukulam. Our Swamiji had a vision of building a Gurukulam in North India. So in 1990s, I think, when Devegowda was Prime Minister, he got a place in Vasant Kunj. And after that, many years, the temple was constructed there, and after some years, he started the Gurukula, pre-COVID time. It was very much started, but it was not written in the boom position. But when our Acharya, Vishvaprassana took charge as a principal, now there are 70 students, 110 students. This year I have not calculated, but promisingly flourishing Vidyapeetha, 110 members are there. And it's very important that our Swamiji ordered to Vishvaprassana that you should not bring the culture of south to north. That's very important. So he told, if they like roti, make them available roti. For that, whatever it needs, you want roti maker, you buy that roti maker. If you want something that they want to eat, prepare in that style from that kind of pachaka itself. Yeah, samosa and all various things. And it is very easy for them, but it is very difficult for our Acharya. Because he is from South India, and I lived there for 2 to 3 days. And that rice, which is very big in considering the South India, it was very difficult for me to digest. I thought only for being there, we have to honor him. And after that, he is doing so much work. One video, it went viral. Someone gifted that roti maker to that Vedavyasa Gurukulam students. So when the first chapati arrived, so the smile in the faces of those children was priceless. So that smile actually is the effort of our Acharya and the blessings of our Swamiji. So he is living this, living this tradition and spreading this tradition across North India. I wholeheartedly welcome Acharya to explain the position of Tatvavada and position of Vaishnavism and the hardships and the possibilities of running a Gurukula in New Delhi.
कृष्णं वंदे मंथपाशधरं दिव्यार्भकाकृतिं शिखाबन्धत्रयोपेतं भैष्मी मध्वकरार्चितं तपस्वाध्याय शुश्रूषा कृष्णपूजारतं मुनिं विश्वेशमिष्टदं वंदे परिव्राट चक्रवर्तिनं परमपूज्यान् आदरणीयान् इतिकुल चक्रवर्तीन् पूज्य पेजावर मठाधीश ईश्वरान् श्री विश्वेश तीर्थ श्रीपादान् विशेषतः संस्मृत्य अधुना पीठे विराजमानान् विश्वप्रसन्न तीर्थ श्रीपादांश्च साष्टांगं प्रणिपत्य पुरतः उपस्थितान् आचार्यान् मंचे विराजमानान् आचार्यांश्च मनसा साष्टांगं प्रणिपत्य मम विषयस्तावत् तत्त्ववाद इन डेल्ली आचार्याणाम् आदेशेन किंचित् हिंदी भाषायामपि वक्तव्यं यतोहि इदं सर्वत्र प्रसरति अग्रे ये भवन्ति न केवलं ते अत्र अधिकारिणः सर्वेपि अधिकारिणः भवेयुः इति कृत्वा एव एतादृश ऐतिहासिक निर्धारं स्वीकृत्य अस्माकं गुरुवराः वीरनारायणाचार्याः प्रथमतया ऐतिहासिक सम्मेलनम् इदं तैः व्यवस्थापितम् अत्यंत प्रेम्णा अहमपि अत्र आहूतः तेषां कृते कार्तज्ञम् अहं समर्पयामि। आज बहुत लोग चर्चा कर रहे हैं। न्यू दिल्ली हमारा वो परिसर में कुछ चर्चा चल रहे तो हमारा गुरुकुल को बात नहीं आई, वो चर्चा पूरा नहीं हो रहा है। वो मेरे के लिए बहुत प्राउड मोमेंट है। कभी कभी अभी श्रीनिधि आचार्य जी बताए, ये उधर पहले कैसे था, मतलब एक 15-20 साल से पहले हमारा गुरु जी का सपना था, हमारा परम पूज्य गुरु जी का विद्यामान तीर्थ स्वामी जी का सपना था। उधर वो गए। हम कब गुरु जी का पास पढ़ते थे तभी हमेशा कभी उत्तर भारत प्रयास हर साल करते थे। वो एक बात हम हमेशा सुनते थे, उडुपी कर्नाटक का मध्वाचार्य जी आए, कर्नाटक का मध्वाचार्य जी आए बोल के हमेशा हम सुनते थे। बाद में वो कब और भी मध्वाचार्य मतलब कौन कौन आए, कौन कौन गए, उधर क्या क्या काम किए, ऐसा हम सोचे। उडुपी पहले उडुपी का शंकराचार्य जी आए थे, ऐसा एक प्रसारण हुआ। बाद में गुरु जी का बात करने से बाद वो मध्वाचार्य जी आए। ऐसे बाद में कब विद्यामान तीर्थ स्वामी जी ने उधर जाके इतना प्रभाव, हम आज उसको अनुभव कर रहा हूँ। किधर थोड़ा बड़े बड़े विद्वान लोग मिलते हैं, वो हमेशा विद्यामान तीर्थ स्वामी जी को याद करते हैं, बाद में विश्वेश तीर्थ स्वामी जी को याद करते हैं। उसके बाद थोड़ा एक 20 साल, मतलब कब विद्यामान तीर्थ स्वामी जी का अस्तंगत हो चुका, बाद में विश्वेश तीर्थ स्वामी जी जा रहे थे, आ रहे थे, बहुत प्रयास करते थे। फिर भी ये तत्ववाद को बारे में थोड़ा प्रयास करने के लिए बहुत उन्होंने प्रयास किया, फिर भी सफलता नहीं मिला। मतलब इसके लिए ही वो नॉर्थ इंडिया जैसे बेंगलुरु पे 70 साल होने के बाद इस व्यवस्था हम देख रहे हैं। 70 साल होने के बाद वही गुरुजी वो कब जीवित हुए थे तभी ही वो देखना चाहते थे दिल्ली पे ऐसा हो। इसके लिए बहुत लोगों को, हम कब सुधा मंगल हो गए तभी बहुत लोगों को बुलाते थे, बुला के आप दिल्ली जाना है, आप दिल्ली जाना है, उधर पाठ करना है, बच्चों को पढ़ाना है। बहुत लोग नहीं हैं, हथौड़ा सब लोग स्वामी जी सोचते हैं समाज के लिए, हम सोचते हैं हमारे के लिए ही। फिर बाद में वो फिर भी बहुत प्यार से समझा के उनको सब लोगों को भेजते थे। बहुत लोग गए, बहुत कुछ प्रयास किए। अभी भी याद करता हूँ उन लोगों को भी। हम पहले नहीं हैं, हम आखिरी नहीं हैं, कल आने वाले भी बहुत है, अभी आके गए भी है, इधर ही बहुत लोग हैं। हमें प्रतोष आचार्य जी है, वीरनारायण आचार्य, पांडुरंगी भी है। बहुत लोग उन्होंने बहुत प्रयास किए स्वामी जी का आशा पूरी करने के लिए। क्या क्या वो एक लिमिटेड में कर सकते थे, सब कुछ किए। फिर भी हम मानता हूँ थोड़ा आज एक अच्छी पर्व काल आए हैं। वो हम जाने से कुछ नहीं है, एक काल आए, समय आए हैं। ये समय के हिसाब से ही सब कुछ चल रहा है। आप इधर ही हम बोलने से भी उधर आके देखना है क्या समस्या है। अभी केवल रोटी को बारे में, भोजन को बारे में ही समस्या उन्होंने बताया। हम कब गए, स्वामी जी को निर्देश हमको कब मिला, तभी हम पहले बार हम गए। थोड़ा हमेशा स्वामी जी का ये था, पहले बच्चों को पढ़ाई होने से पहले पेट भरना चाहिए। मतलब कैसे हम थोड़ा एक्सपेंड कर सकते हैं, पहले उनको क्या चाहिए वो दे दो, बाद में क्या कराना है करा दो। ये गुरु जी का एक पहले, जैसे विश्वेश तीर्थ स्वामी जी भी ऐसे भी थे, विश्वप्रसन्न तीर्थ स्वामी जी भी ऐसे ही है। बाद में उधर हमेशा उनका कंप्लेंट था, नहीं आप हम कब गए, एक 18 बच्चे थे, 18 बच्चे थे। हमेशा डर लगते थे कुछ गड़बड़ हुआ तभी उन लोग हमको धमकी देते थे, क्या है, हम छोड़ के जाता हूँ, गुरुकुल छोड़ के जाता हूँ। यदि एक आदमी गए और एक आदमी थोड़ा उसके जैसे ये रहते हैं प्रेरित होकर अनुगामिनः भवन्त्येव, एकः गच्छति चेदपि सर्वेपि अनुसरणं कर्तुम् इच्छन्ति। तभी हम हमेशा डरते थे इसको क्या करें, कैसे करें। थोड़ा प्यार से समझा के इनको बिठाना ही बहुत मुश्किल था। बाद में उनको क्या चाहिए वो दिया, एक थोड़ा सा इम्प्रूवमेंट्स उनको दिखाते रहे। हमेशा एक मैंने सोचा इन लोगों को क्या है ना, थोड़ा पेट भराना है, हमेशा पाठ करना है। इधर ये मतलब दूसरी सोच आने के लिए भी उसको समय नहीं हो। ये हम इधर सोचते थे मेरा पीरियड कितना है 6 पीरियड खत्म हो चुका, हम घर जाना है, दूसरे काम रहना ही है, रहते ही है। उधर हमको दूसरे काम नहीं था। आज किसी ने पूछा आपको इतना मालिन्य बहुत है, आपको दिक्कत नहीं होगा क्या? नहीं, हम बाहर नहीं जाते ही है, बाहर नहीं जाते ही है, उधर ही रहते हैं। मतलब हम तभी बाहर का मालिन्य अलग है, मन में मालिन्य नहीं हो। अभी भी एक ये सिद्धांत है, कब तक हमको थोड़ा समय मिले किसी को भी बुला के कुछ ना कुछ पढ़ा दो। ये ऐसा उनको मन में सोचने के लिए भी अवसर नहीं मिलना है। ऐसा सोचकर उनको प्राथमिकता उनके नहीं, उनका माता पिता को कैसे विश्वास आ सकते हैं ऐसे हमने किए पहले। मतलब वो कब बाहर अंदर एक घर गए तभी उनको एक घर में अच्छा माहौल उनको दिखाना है। नहीं, बच्चे पहले कैसे थे अभी एक्चुअली हम फील हो जाता हूँ, यदि गुरुकुल नहीं बनाया होगा हमारा ये पंडित लोगों का मतलब उधर ब्राह्मण लोगों का परिस्थिति बहुत दुष्कर है। घर में कैसे स्थिति है आपको भी पता होगा। फिर भी कुछ बच्चों का माता पिताओं को नौकरी कुछ सही बढ़िया से नहीं है, वो पीते हैं, कुछ करते रहते हैं, ऐसे ही चलते रहते। कुछ पैसा नहीं मिले तो दूसरों से पैसा लेना, ज़िंदगी जीना। फिर बाद में ये बच्चे गवर्नमेंट स्कूल जाते हैं, उधर पढ़ाई नहीं हो जाते हैं, फिर उधर चोरी करना। ये 3 साल अभी भी कौन अभी 6ठ वर्षे पठन्तः सन्ति विद्यार्थिनः इदानीं किञ्चित् अत्यन्त संस्कारयुक्ताः सन्ति। तान् एकदा अहं यदा नूतनतया गतवान् आसं तदा मम अन्ये ये अध्यापकाः आसन् सहवर्तिनः ते उक्तवन्तः इमं निष्कासनीयमेव, एते अत्र न भवेयुः। कुतः इत्युक्ते ये चोराः बहु अन्यायं कुर्वन्ति, एते सम्यक्तया न सन्ति। तेपि एवमेव कृतवन्तः। कथम् इत्युक्ते कर्तरी इत्यादिकं स्वीकृत्य दानपेटिकायां यदस्ति तद् एवं स्वीकृत्य तादृशरीत्या स्वीकुर्वन्तः आसन्। इत्युक्ते तेषाम् एतद् न्यायम् एतद् अन्यायं धर्मं सत्यम् अधर्मम् असत्यं यत् किमपि तत्र मौल्यमेव नास्ति तेषां। कथं वा आगच्छेत्? अतः तादृशरीत्या हम भी सोच रहे थे ठीक है इसको निकालेंगे। तभी मन में आते थे विश्वेश स्वामी जी, क्योंकि कौन चोरी किया है, मठ में कौन चोरी किया है उनको भी रक्षा करते थे, मठ में ही रखे। नहीं, वही बता रहा हूँ, वो क्यों है, ये चोर है और कुछ होगा। वो बता रहे थे नहीं, कल यदि बाहर गए बड़ा चोर होगा, इधर ही है तो सुधारेगा ये, हम सुधार करता हूँ बोल के उतना विश्वास था उनको। बाद में हमारा बचपन में हमको याद आ रहा था, हम ही ऐसे ही थे, हमको भी कुछ नहीं आता थे। आचार्य जी साक्षी है, नहीं वो पता है, अभी भी मेरे को याद नहीं है, मतलब चोर है नहीं। एक आपका बाल्यावस्था को आप देखें, हमेशा गुरु जी का एक संदेश है, सबको ही हम ही तरह देखना है, हम ही तरह देखना है। हम कैसे हैं वो भी ऐसे ही है। कुछ आवश्यकता होगा, कुछ समस्या होगा, कब तक मन बदलेगा नहीं तब तक वो नहीं सुधारेगा। इसलिए मन बदलने के लिए काम करो। फिर भी कभी कभी अभी भी याद आते, मतलब प्रेरित हो जाता हूँ क्रिश्चियनिटी कॉन्वेंट स्कूल में, कॉन्वेंट में और मदरसा में कैसे वो परिवर्तित करते हैं। मतलब हम जस्ट मिनिमम परिवर्तन भी हमसे नहीं हो पा रहे तो तभी हम क्या कर रहे हैं। दुःखम एतदस्ति तेषां परिवर्तनं न, एतादृश अध्ययनं कृत्वा स्वयं अस्माभिरेव परिवर्तनं न भवति, अस्माकमेव परिवर्तनं न भवति। अद्य प्रातः एवमेव गच्छन् आसम्, एकः तद् आचार्यः भागवतं स्वीकृत्य गच्छन्तः आसन्, ते गच्छन् आसीत्। तदा सः उक्तवान् प्रतिदिनमपि अस्मिन् पुस्तके एव अहम् एतत् पारायणं कृत्वा 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 अस्मिन् पुस्तके महती प्रीतिः अभिवर्धिता इति। मया तदेव उक्तं, भागवतं पठित्वा प्रीतिः विनष्टा यथा भवेत् तथा अस्माभिः भवेत्। न अभिमाननाशः भवेत्, पुनः तत्रैव अभिमानः भवेत्, अभिमानं भवेत् इत्युक्ते कथं। न तादृशरीत्या अन्ये के किं वा अध्ययनं कुर्वन्ति, वही काम करते रहते हैं, ऐसे ही हो जाते रहते हैं। हम ऐसा नहीं हो रहा है। हमको कभी कभी इस्कॉन लोगों से भी प्रेरित हो जाता हूँ। मतलब इतना भक्ति संदेश चैतन्य महाराज जी ने किधर भी दूर जाके इतना काम किए, इसमें इसका बलवत्ता क्या था। उनका एक ही मन में था, कुछ कृष्ण भक्ति को प्रसार करे, और इससे कुछ नहीं था। हम सोचते हैं इसको बाद में सोचकर हमको क्या मिलना है वही सोचकर कृष्ण भक्ति को प्रसार करते रहे तो कैसे होगा। इसलिए इसमें बिना समर्पित नहीं हो तब तक कुछ भी काम नहीं होगा। कभी बुरा लगते रहते हैं, कुछ इतना प्रोत्साहन नहीं मिलेगा, नहीं तो अध्यापक लोग नहीं आएगा, बाद में कोई भी कुछ इधर देखे तो बहुत बड़ा वृक्ष है, उधर छोटी है, उसको बढ़ाना है, कैसे बढ़ाना है, क्या करना है। तभी कुछ लोगों से पूछता हूँ, वो करते हैं, कोई कुछ नहीं करते हैं। तभी इससे मन में अप्रसन्नता कुछ नहीं मिलेगा, मतलब अरे निरुत्साह कुछ नहीं रहते हैं, क्योंकि हमारा बड़ा गुरु जी का मन में रखकर वो क्या क्या किए हैं। पहले ऐसा इतना लोग नहीं हो रहा था, वो भी बहुत प्रयास करके एक एक घटना, उनका ज़िंदगी का एक एक घटना लेकर मन में रखकर बच्चों में वो मन में रखवा के ये काम किया। अभी वो उधर बहुत काम कर रहे हैं। यही एक मौल्यवर्धित करना ही मेन इंटेंशन है। अभी कितना संख्या हो गई वो असंख्या का बात अलग है, बाद में करता हूँ। कि अभी क्या हो ना, पहले संख्या का बात बहुत था, नहीं कैसे करना है। अभी संख्या के बारे में चिंता भी नहीं है, वो संख्या हो जाती है। क्वालिटी है तभी संख्या बढ़ेगा, इसलिए क्वालिटी को ऊपर ज़्यादा गमन देना है। ऐसा गुरुजी से बात किया। अभी गुरुजी भी बहुत हमको मदद दे रहे, सहकारिता दे रहे। बहुत इधर का पंडित लोग भी हमारे साथ है। इधर ऑनलाइन में ही आके केवल गुरुजी का आदेश नहीं है कि केवल हमारा प्रार्थना से ही बहुत लोग खुद ही स्वयं प्रेरणा से, मतलब हम सब लोगों में अंदर कुछ भावना है, हम कुछ करना है। क्या करना है? बहुत लोग खुद ही करने के लिए चाहते हैं, कराने के लिए नहीं चाहते हैं, क्योंकि खुद ही प्रमोट हो। दूसरों को प्रमोट करो, खुद ही को और एक आदमी प्रमोट करते ही है। इसलिए दूसरों को बारे में सोचकर, मतलब सब लोगों से एक बात प्रार्थना किए, सब कुछ हो जाएगा। आज गर्व से कहता हूँ, एक नॉर्थ इंडियन आदमी से, मतलब उनको हर दिन थोड़ा संध्या वंदन करवा के, कौन पाचक से ही लेकर संध्या वंदन करवा के उनको बताता हूँ, थोड़ा ये कर दो, ऐसा करो। कब गुरुजी आएगा वो बढ़िया से, वो मन प्रसन्नता से वो रहना है। प्रसन्नता से वो खाना है, सब कुछ होना है। यदि अभी गुरुजी पहले 1 हफ्ते से पहले आए थे, विजयदशमी पर आए थे, कब आते हैं बच्चे संस्कृत में अनुवाद करते रहे, स्वामी जी अत्यंत प्रसन्न हो जाते हैं। संस्कृत का गंध भी नहीं था, आज एक संस्कृत माध्यम से वो बात कर रहे हैं। फिर बाद में एक अच्छी संस्कार, वो अच्छी संस्कार है, अभी भी नहीं सीधा से नहीं बता सकता हूँ, क्योंकि मन में वो कैसे क्या है अलग बात है। फिर भी हम कितना एक नियम से क्या नियम रखना है, कैसे रहना है, वो सब कुछ अभी चल रहा है। आगे का दिन बहुत जिम्मेदारी है, वो पता है। कभी कभी मेरे को भी थोड़ा मनस चंचलित हो जाते रहते हैं, सबको देखकर कभी सीधा इधर ही आए, कुछ बहुत है, सब कुछ है, इसलिए कभी मन विचलित हो जाते रहते हैं। बाद में नहीं, हम ऐसा नहीं करना है। यदि व्यासराज स्वामी जी तब गए, वादराज स्वामी जी तब गए, बाद में विद्यामान तीर्थ स्वामी जी तक भी ज्ञा पाए। एक साइड में चैतन्य स्वामी जी के साथ, यदि चैतन्य प्रभुपाद जी के साथ यदि हमारा स्वामी जी लोग भी कभी कभी थोड़ा ऐसे ही निरंतर संपर्क में रहते थे, तभी ये शाखा द्वय ये बात भी नहीं आते थे। शाखा द्वय बोल के बात भी नहीं था, क्योंकि वो हमारा ही एक शाखा उधर चल रहा है, ऐसा बात हो रहा था, कभी नहीं हो पाए। फिर आज हमारा हमको एक मौका मिला है और कभी कुछ करना है। फिर भी एक नेतृत्व लेने वाले स्वामी जी भी अभी है। विश्वप्रसन्न तीर्थ स्वामी जी पहले से ही वो बता रहे थे, बहुत दूरदृष्टि से वो करते हैं, इसलिए हम कुछ करना है अभी। बाद में हम अभी उल्लेखन करना ही है, एक वरखेड़ी जी, श्रीनिवास वरखेड़ी जी का जैसे प्रोत्साहन है, उधर हमारा अच्छे एक मार्गदर्शक है तो वही है। फिर स्वामी जी वो अलग ही है, ये खुद रह के वो अभी भी याद करता हूँ उनको। वो परिसर देखकर हम पहली बार हम गए, तभी वही उनको आह्वान किया आना है, तभी उन्होंने एक बात बताया था, नहीं इधर नहीं आ सकता हूँ। न तो वो परिस्थिति थोड़ा अलग ही था, वो बात नहीं बता सकता हूँ, वो अलग ही है, ठीक नहीं आता हूँ। बाद में वही चैलेंज रखकर, नहीं ये ऐसा वाला गुरुजी लोग आना है इधर, हम क्या करना है बोल के एक एक भी यदि हम निरुत्साहन रूप का कुछ सुनते हैं तभी एक कदम पीछे रखना है। नहीं, मैंने सीखा है, नहीं एक निरुत्साह पूर्वक कुछ रखे, कोई बताए, हम एक कदम आगे रखना है। ये आगे रखे तो वो पीछे आएगा। अभी यदि हम बुलाते तो बहुत खुशी से, गर्व से, ये हमारा मठ है, हमारा गुरुकुल है बोल के, आपको क्या चाहिए आप ले लिए, ऐसे उनका भी मन है, बहुत निरंतर प्रोत्साहन है। फिर ऐसे ही अभी 6वां साल जा रहे, अभी बच्चे दीपिका तर्क संग्रह पढ़े हैं, वो पढ़ाने वाले हमारा श्रीवत्स आचार्य जी भी इधर ही है। तो 4 पीरियड उन्होंने ऑनलाइन में, वो बहुत बड़ा विद्वान है, आराम इधर ही रह सकते थे, कुछ कर सकते थे, फिर भी उनका मन वही है हम गुरुजी का एक सेवा करें। ऐसा ऑनलाइन में ही बच्चों के लिए 4 पीरियड देकर वो पढ़ा रहे। और बच्चे इनको देखकर कैसे है, और अभी 5वां साल में कौन पढ़ रहे हैं, वो लोग पूछते हैं नहीं हम भी थोड़ा स्पेशल एक पाठ होना है, हमको कुछ करा दीजिए। ऐसा एक माहौल भी आ गए है। फिर भी शास्त्र ग्रंथ शुरू नहीं हुआ है, फिर भी आगे को दिनों में कुछ होने वाला है, वो निश्चय है। वो इतना समस्या कुछ नहीं है, ऐसा अभी अनुभव है। फिर भी बड़े बड़े लोगों को संपर्क में, कल परसों अभी गुरुजी क्या परीक्षा दिलवाए बच्चों से, हर दिन अभी 10 दिन से परीक्षा चल रहे है। ये परीक्षाओं को अभी दिखाते रहता हूँ, बच्चों को दिखाते रहे, तभी वो बच्चे भी उत्साहित हो रहा है, नहीं हम भी परीक्षा देना है। अभी 5वां साल का वो बच्चे क्या पढ़ रहे हैं, वो भी व्याकरण हमारा विनय आचार्य जी से इधर विश्वेश्वर संशोधन मंदिर प्रतिष्ठापन का संशोधन मंदिर का डायरेक्टर है विनय पड़सली के आचार्य जी, वो ही खुद पढ़ाते हैं। मतलब वो बच्चों में क्या है ना, हमको कुछ पढ़ने में दिक्कत है, कोई पढ़ाने में कुछ दिक्कत नहीं है। इधर हम पढ़ते हैं तो पढ़ाने के लिए आचार्य जी तैयार है। बाद में उनको पेट भरने के लिए एक्चुअली बच्चे खुश है। आपने बताए रोटी मशीन आने के बाद बच्चे से भी ज़्यादा खुशी है विश्व प्रसन्न तीर्थ स्वामी जी, क्योंकि उनको कब हम अधिकार लिए तभी उन्होंने वही बताया था। तो हो सकते हैं तो उनका खाना उनको दे दो, तभी किसी को भी बताइए, थोड़ा वो करने में थोड़ा दिक्कत था। अभी किसी को बता के कुछ हुआ है, और अभी इस साल में बड़ा वो कंस्ट्रक्शन किए हैं बच्चों के लिए ही, रहने के लिए ही एक 6 हॉल सब कुछ करके एक बड़ा किए हैं। आज भी उन्होंने वही बात हुआ। और एक बिल्डिंग है, इसको चलाने के लिए कुछ रेंट के लिए हमने क्या दिए हैं दूसरी संस्था को, यदि वो हमारा आएगा हमको ही मिलेगा तभी दिक्कत नहीं हो बोल के उन्होंने भी आज भी वही सोच रहे हैं। और भी 300-500 बच्चों को हमसे कुछ मदद हो। बाद में किस किस राज्यों में अभी इनको देखकर, वेदव्यास गुरुकुल को देखकर प्रेरणा लेकर फरीदाबाद में कोई आके आधा एकड़ जगह ज़मीन दिए है, दान दिए है। बाद में हमने बताया था अहमदाबाद में भी कुछ जगह मिला है। और बहुत लोग यदि हमको जगह देने के लिए यदि मिले, स्वामी जी का सोच ऐसा है नॉर्थ इंडिया पे मैक्सिमम करना है बोल के, इतना फंड है नहीं है, फंड कैसे भी भगवान दिलाते हैं, हम प्रयास करना है। हमेशा वो एक बात कहते हैं, यत्र योगेश्वर कृष्ण यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीः विजयः भूतिः ध्रुवानी तिर्मतिर्ममा। आज भी उन्होंने बताया, आप उनको कभी भी देखिए ये बात हमेशा बोलते रहते हैं, आप प्रयास करो भगवान कुछ करते हैं, आप बिना प्रयास से भगवान कुछ नहीं करेगा। इसलिए हमेशा वो भी प्रेरणा देते रहते हैं। फिर भी हमको स्वतंत्रता, मतलब आप क्या करना है तो करो, ये सब कुछ है। कल हाँ, वो टेक्स्ट बुक, मतलब ये हमने भी क्या क्या पढ़ाना है, उनमें बच्चों को क्या क्या पढ़ाना है। ऐसे विद्यापीठ का हमारा विश्वेश्वर स्वामी जी क्या प्रणाली इधर ही करवा के गए हैं। मतलब विद्यापीठ में क्या उन्होंने टेक्स्ट बुक सब कुछ रखे हैं, वही टेक्स्ट बुक उधर ही हमने किए हैं। स्वामी जी एक इधर मणिमंजरी पढ़ाते हैं, वो एक साल वो मणिमंजरी कुछ पढ़ाए, बाद में उनको परीक्षा लेने के लिए आए, परीक्षा लिए, तभी उनको अरे बच्चों में थोड़ा पढ़ने में थोड़ा दिक्कत चल रहा है, उनको पता चला। तभी उन्होंने क्या किया, ये नहीं है, एक काम करें इनको रामोदंत सिखाइए, क्योंकि ये नॉर्थ में राम भगवान के ऊपर श्रद्धा बहुत रहते हैं। राम भगवान का श्रद्धा के लिए रामोदंत पढ़ते हैं। मतलब इनको विचारधारा कैसे है, रामोदंत इसके लिए पढ़ते हैं, राम का ऊपर श्रद्धा है इसलिए वो पढ़ते हैं बोल के रामोदंत बोल के उन्होंने इंट्रोड्यूस करवाए। बाद में इनको हम जाने के बाद मेन माता पिता वो पूछते हैं थोड़ा आंग्ल भाषा अध्ययन हो रहा है नहीं हो रहा है। दूसरी गुरुकुलों में कैसे है, एक 11वां तक उनको पढ़ा के बाद में यूनिवर्सिटी को भेजना है। हम ऐसा नहीं है, पूरा से पूरा हमारे ही पढ़ना है। तभी हमारे ही पढ़ना है तो पहले क्या करना है, तभी उनको एक स्कूल है अच्छी है, मतलब इनको क्या डिग्री मिलते हैं, सब जगह पे उनको एक मौल्य मिलना है। इसलिए सेंट्रल संस्कृत यूनिवर्सिटी से एफिलिएशन लेकर उसका क्या क्या परीक्षा पद्धति है, सब परीक्षा भी अडॉप्ट करा के इधर भी परीक्षा, बाद में इंग्लिश उनको, बाद में कंप्यूटर। आज भी हमने क्या किया, इसके लिए एक अध्यापक को व्यवस्था किए हैं, वो हर दिन 6 पीरियड सभी बच्चों को भी वो पढ़ रहे बच्चे भी। पहले से ही एक ये है बाद में उनको क्या क्या खुद ही मतलब आगे कंप्यूटर सीख के और कुछ करना है ऐसा नहीं है। पहले से ही गुरु जी का एक मन में था सभी सर्वमूल ग्रंथ का हिंदी अनुवाद होना है, तभी हम कर सकते क्या? निश्चित रूप से निजी रूप से हम सोचे तो नहीं कर पाते हैं। यदि खुद ही वो व्यक्ति मतलब कौन मातृभाषा समझते हैं हिंदी को, वही खुद ये सब कुछ पढ़ के कल कर सकते हैं। इसलिए इन लोगों को आज ट्रेनिंग दे रहे, एक अनुवाद का भी हिंदी सर्वमूल ग्रंथों का अनुवाद करना, बाद में संस्कृत सीखना, संस्कृत पढ़ना, ये सब कुछ युगपत चल रहे। अभी बड़े बच्चे कुछ गीता विवृत्ति का कुछ क्या हम पाठ करते हैं, तभी उनको हिंदी में अनुवाद कर रहे हैं। रामोदंत का हो गए है और आदर्श का क्या है वो भी हो गए, मध्वविजय का, ऐसा अभी क्या क्या टेक्स्ट बुक करना है। आगे के दिनों में कुछ समस्या कुछ नहीं होगा। इसी तरह उधर एक डायरेक्टरेट भी स्थापना किए हैं गुरुजी ने, संशोधना मंदिर भी स्थापना किए हैं, गुरुकुल भी स्थापना किए हैं। हमारा सोच है आज गुरुकुल बढ़े तभी संशोधना मंदिर निश्चित बढ़ेगा। इसलिए अभी बीजावाप हो गए हैं, आगे दिनों में और वो हो जाएगा, उसमें इतना समस्या नहीं है। ऐसा अभी का क्या है वो सोच है। सभी लोगों का यदि मदद मिले तभी हमारा वो भी गुरुजी का वही सोच है। गुरु बच्चों का भी हर साल भी हमने ऐसा एक प्रयोग किया, कुछ बच्चों को स्वामी जी के साथ भेज दिया। कब छुट्टी रहते हैं तभी गुरुजी के साथ भेज दिया। गुरुजी के साथ एक 15, 20, 25 दिन वो रहा, उनको अनुभव आया हमारा ट्रेडिशनल क्या है, हम संप्रदाय रूप से कैसे रहना है, क्या करना है बोल को उनको ये अनुभव मिला। फिर वो लोग उधर ही आए, तभी ऐसी तरह रहने के लिए प्रयास किए। उनको देखकर और कुछ बच्चे, फिर इस साल में मैंने प्रयोग किया है और 20 लोग 15 बच्चों को इधर लेके आए थे, विद्यापीठ में ही लेके आए थे। सभी आचार्य जी से ही पाठ करवाए। तभी उन लोगों को 15 दिन रुकने से उन लोगों को मन में इधर क्या है, बच्चे कैसे रहते हैं, हम क्या करना है, कैसे रहना है, ऐसा उनको सोच भी अनुभव भी मिला। ये पूरा इस ये प्रयोग से क्या चल रहे, थोड़ा हम ऐसे ही टाइम पास नहीं कर रहे, वो अच्छी एक हमको एक ये मिल रहे, ऐसा उनको भी सोच है। एवं रीत्या तत्र निरंतर प्रयोगशाला रीत्या एव कार्यं वयं कुर्वन्तः स्मः। अत्रत्यः बहवः विद्वांसाः तत्र अध्ययनं समाप्य तत्र आगत्य इदानीं पाठं कुर्वन्तः सन्ति। अग्रेपि आगन्तव्याः भवन्ति, तद् निश्चयेन आगच्छन्ति इत्यपि विश्वासः वर्तते। एवं रीत्या अस्माभिः किञ्चित् प्रयासः क्रियमाणं वर्तते। शास्त्रसंरक्षणं, शास्त्रवृद्धिः, तत्रापि नाम विशेषतः मध्वाचार्याणां यत् तत्त्ववादः अस्ति तत् निश्चयेन प्रसृता भवति इति अहं विश्वसिमि। भवतां सर्वेषां सहकारमपि अहं सर्वदा याचे याचनमेव अस्ति, याचे तद् भवति। गुरूणां विशेषतः मम अनुभवः वर्तते। अस्माकं मम किमपि नास्ति, विश्वेशतीर्थश्रीचरणाः एव तेषां नाम तेषां वृन्दावन गमनानन्तरं तेषां मनसि आगतं स्यात्, मया अत्र कृतं तत्र न कृतं, विद्यामानतीर्थस्वामिनाम् आदेशं तत्र कर्तव्यम् आसीत्, मया न कृतम् इति तेषां मनसि आगतं स्यात्, अतः इदानीं तत्र किञ्चित् क्रियमाणं वर्तते। ते एव तेषां पालनमेव तत्र तेषां संकल्प एव तत्र शक्तिः, तादृशशक्तेः प्रसारः एव तत्र भवति। तादृश तेषां गुरुचरणानाम् अनुग्रह आशीर्वादः सर्वेषाञ्च सज्जनानाञ्च अभिमानादिकं निरन्तरं संस्थायाः उपरि भवेत् इति अहम् आशास्य सर्वेषाम् अभिनन्दनं कृत्वा श्रीकृष्णार्पितमस्तु।
So only theory is not enough to spread the awareness among the people. It is how you, in science also, if some theoretical physicist doesn't approve your theory, practitioners if doesn't approve your theory, then it doesn't have any value. So like that, if theory, if doesn't go to the people and it only stays in the only few members of the community, then it has no connectivity. So for that, the means to spread the awareness about the theories is what we call as rituals. So the rituals are nothing but to spread the theory among the every kind of people. So in that, these Nama Sankirtan and all are included. Like that, our Acharya ji also doing something every day to spread the awareness among the students. This is one of the biggest achievements of Gurukula, what I say. Because nowadays what happening is that creamy layer is not coming to Vidyapita, as you all aware. Creamy layering is always going to IIT or IIM or NIT or... So creamy layer is, we are not getting the creamy layer. So does that mean that we should not practice these things or we should not do anything for them? I think that is one of the biggest achievement if we convert them into someone who is very responsible citizen of the India. That itself is a very big contribution from the Gurukula. And this is what happening in every Gurukula, I think. And I'm not saying that there are no creamy layer in the Gurukulas. Of course, there are creamy layer. There are some people, some students who have hidden cream in them. And So with this intention, our Swamiji also always used to make one person who, if he has done something wrong, he always used to make him stay with him. So what he used to say is, if I sent him somewhere else, he would do more harm to society than staying here. So that was his conviction. In that stream, sometimes what did happen is that we used to think that Swamiji is too much liberal. So it is my observation also. We used to think, oh, he doesn't belong here, he should be sent away. But after 5-6 years, we used to realize that no, Swamiji, because what that person became now in the society is the indicator of the Swamiji's decision at that time. That we could realize now, but Swamiji had realized that time itself. So this is what we also experienced in our lifetime. With these words, we appreciate Acharya's tireless effort to spread the awareness among the students who maximally don't know anything about the Tatvavada or Madhvacharya or any Acharyas, not at all Acharya, any Acharyas. He is doing tireless work in that direction. I sincerely offer my salutations to Acharya. And with this we are concluding this session in the midway, because practical thing, chai pan is there available for us. After having 5 minutes break, we will have 2 scholars here who will present their presentation. One is scientist, one is also scientist, but now become a monk. So we will have the 2 presentations. I request all the dignitaries to be present here after the 5 minutes. This seminar is being sponsored by ICPR, Indian Council Philosophical Research Center, New Delhi, and the Sachidananda Mishra ji, who graciously extended fund. What Acharya told, the fund for this seminar is it was actually granted by him. He told that you proceed with your seminar, we will send adequate money to you, no problem should be happen with that regard. So we wholeheartedly thank ICPR New Delhi and Sachidananda Mishra ji also. We will conclude now, we will come back after 5 minutes. So tea is ready there, please. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Now we are going to start the session. I request Dr. Pratosh to present his paper. Dr. Pratosh is very well-known scholar in both genre. He is a scholar who is assistant professor at IASC, and he is a scholar of Dvaita. And he is a startup founder also. And the speciality is that he is very deeply interested in Dvaita Vedanta, and he has studied many granthas like Nyaya Sudha and Tatparya Chandrika, which is very impossible for person who is studying in the general syllabus. He could not afford to study these subjects if he is not in the Gurukula. But he has managed his life in that way that he has studied both streams. He is very he's doing his research, and he has many patents with him regarding the recent AI revolution. Yeah. We request him to make some patents in Shastra also. And he is like a influencer now. His words, many people will wait to listen his words because he comes from that background which is very popular today, which is mainstream. So sometimes what happens, if a Gurukula student starts to talk, it may not connect with the people because his environment is different and his society is different, but he has experienced both streams. That's why people, and his analogies, it comes with the scientific background. That's why we have requested him to present his paper on the forward way. It means how to move ahead in this direction, how we can revolutionize this Vaishnavism movement. And actually now we have only one enemy in our culture. There is no, we should not be doing battle. There should not be a battle between Vaidikas. There should be a battle between whole Vaidikas and this Vokism and all these kind of extreme anti-natural elements are there, which are present in this society. We have to fight with them because they are like sharks. They are waiting to grab our next generation. We have to protect that generation. For that we have to be samsaro dadi nau harihi. Now we have to become a boat. And Srihari itself is a boat. Madhvacharya has also given that analogy in the Krishnamrta Maharanama. Srihari himself is a boat. So we should actually become boat, and we should rescue the next generation with every effort what we can do in that direction. With that regard, I request Dr. Pratosh to show or spread some light on that aspect.
श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। नमः परस्मै पुरुषाय भूयसे सदुद्भवस्थान निरोध लीलया गृहीत शक्तित्रतयाय देहिनाम् अंतर्ध्रुवायानुपलभ्य वर्त्मने। श्रीशपादाम्बुजासक्तः करुणापूरशीतलः मध्वाक्यो मरुदंशो मे संतापान् हन्तु सन्ततम् आपादमौलिपर्यन्तं गुरूणामाकृतिं स्मरेत् तेन विघ्नाः प्रणश्यन्ति सिद्ध्यन्ति च मनोरथाः। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। First of all, I offer my humble pranams to all Vaishnavas that are present here. I honestly don't know why I was invited to talk here. It was a different kind of gathering, but I think it's my honor and privilege that I was given an opportunity to talk about, express some of my thoughts here with you fellow Vaishnavas. I grew up in the southern part of the country, in Karnataka and all that. My first exposure to the Gaudiya Parampara and also North India was actually done in a forcible manner. When I took my academic profession, it was IIT Delhi that made me the first faculty offer and I had to take that up. So I went to Delhi then, and that's how I got exposed to both the North Indian culture, right, and the Gaudiya Parampara. It's an interesting story how I was actually exposed to Gaudiya Parampara. People were talking about how difficult it is to deal with North India. I still remember when I joined there, I was 26 years old, and one student from Haryana, I failed him because the guy never showed up in my classes. One day he just walks into my office and says that, मैं हरियाणा से हूँ, मुझे पास करो वरना पता है मुझे क्या करना मैं करता हूँ. This is the kind of people that you deal with. So for a pious South Indian boy, it was too much to deal with. So I got scared and went to the dean and complained. It was a long story. They are tough people, and I think there's a lot of historical reason why people are that way, right? I mean, I keep saying this. If somebody remains a Hindu in spite of so much of oppression over centuries, there's no other way that they're made that way. So we were protected historically. We were not subject to such harsh operations from the imperialism in the southern part of the country. So we could stay the way we are. But North India is a very different ball game altogether. So it's hard being there, even both in terms of dealing with people and in terms of whether it's harsh and so on. So I understand what it is. And the thing that I wanted to talk about here today was, as Dr. Srinidhi was just mentioning, that the cream of the cream in this country, they never reach these Gurukulas. They end up going to IITs, right? And I am there, I teach there, so I know what kind of students come. So the question that we should be asking right now is, as fellow Vaishnavas, is what is that we are missing? Why is that we don't get good people pursuing this? It's a question that we should be asking ourselves. So, having been there for quite some time now and interacted with a lot of students in that community, and also having seen people from our community, right, who have been traditionally grown up to be Vaishnavas, I have a few theses that I would like to present with you, and think of things that perhaps we can do about it. What is that we can do? So there are. Okay, I see that the problem is actually, multifold. One is, of course, we have been protecting all our traditions by studying, keeping them alive, and these kinds of Gurukulas exist. That's a great thing that we are doing. That is to be done and continue, no question about it. But when I interact with, I keep interacting with a lot of students on a daily basis, and these are the so-called creamy layer people, right? They are IITians, and I interact with them every day. So even students or children who come with a traditional background go away from it because they think that this is dated. This is all completely outdated stuff, right? It has no scientific merit and no scientific value. Sometime in the history, this had a lot of value. Okay, people thought that this is good, but now it has no value whatsoever to pursue it. And they think that this is a thing of past. Even those who show some interest because it has some historical value. It's like studying anthropology, right? It's a museum piece, nice. It's good to study about dinosaurs, but fine, it has only that much of value. It's sometime okay. And unfortunately, our society also makes this mistake time and again by saying that whatever, we were the ones who created zero, we were the ones who first talked about the Newton's law and so on, I think it's a grave mistake, because serious science has moved on. Right? From Kanada Sutra to the modern days artificial intelligence, things have moved on, and we should acknowledge that it has moved on, and today we are beneficiaries of modern science, and we are using it time and again, and we cannot be in a denial saying that no, science is all nonsense and we should not be doing that and all that. People don't, see, intelligent people just don't buy that argument. So they'll say, okay, these people, see, we have to position ourselves differently from the Semitic group. And we call ourselves the intellectual lot, and unless we take these questions head on and answer them, or even at least address them and ask those questions ourselves, we are never going to reach these people. So they will, at best what they will do is, with some shraddha, they will donate some money to our organizations, and we keep living in this dark ages, and okay, fine, no, these people are happy, those people are happy. We can only sell them the idea of punya, nothing beyond it. But if you study our shastras, all of them claim that, that this is where the actual reality is and truth is, and everybody wants reality and truth. So unless we address these questions head on and make some efforts towards that direction very consciously, we are not going to reach them at all. Okay? And again, so I can give you a few examples of how one can think about these things. And what happens is, in today's world, what's happening is the following. The advancements in scientific pursuits are throwing new challenges and questions to the dharma and philosophy every single day. New questions are being asked. And these questions are very, very formidable. You know, they are not loose questions. And we have to take those questions head on and answer them. So I will present, let's say, 3-4 such questions that have bogged philosophy. But what's very unfortunate is people like you or people like us never bother to even look at them seriously. So we conveniently ignore those questions. And the more we ignore those questions, the more we lose the creamy layer of the society, because they think that we are outdated dinosaurs who have no value in the society. Let me give you, because this is a gathering of Vaishnavas, right? And Srinidhi was talking about our common enemies. And Mayavadins is our one common enemy, right? That all of us have been dealing with them for centuries now, right? Books and books. In an intellectual sense, right? I mean, people, see, okay, so let me put it this way, okay, let me be politically correct. So the question is, we are here to establish and understand truth and satya, right? And if there is a vada that seemingly is contradictory, we have to deal with it and answer it. That's the sense in which I call them enemies. And it's not that you have to go and kill them or whatever, right? That's what I meant. And now, all of you, maybe all of you know this. There is a lot of buying for that particular philosophy worldwide, okay, at an intellectual level. People think and call that is an intellectual. So whenever people talk of Vedanta, it's that Vedanta that people talk about worldwide. Okay? And the moment you talk about Dvaitavada or whatever, right, the Chaitanyavada, Achintya Bheda Bheda, anything you take, that's not even given a state as a philosophical, that's not even taken seriously across the philosophical pursuits in the world, because they think that, Vedanta is the Advaita Vedanta. And to add to it, right, today's quantum physics is making discoveries after discoveries that seemingly seem to support that idea. And all of you might know that last year's Physics Nobel Prize, went to the group of these 3 scientists that claim that the universe is locally unreal. Okay? And suddenly these neo-Advaitins started talking and making claims after claims, giving TED Talks after TED Talks, saying that, this is what we were saying centuries after centuries, that look, physics acknowledges what we are saying, that universe is locally unreal. And people buy this. And I'm talking about people who are the intellectual cream of this country or across the world, and they say that, oh yeah, I mean, of course, all these ideas were there and quantum physics has acknowledged that idea. Now, do we have a response for that? When we say we, I'm talking about Vaishnavas. Do we have a formidable, physics-based, grounded, mathematical response to that question? We don't, unfortunately.
You don't understand the language, locally unreal.
I'm here to do that. So my proposal is the following, that we have to breed new kind of scholars who will understand that language and also the Shastra language. I call them whatever you want. Nomenclatures don't matter, right? But the thing is, we have to give formidable responses and document them in our works. See, I'm also a product of this sort of a system, right? I was actually taught by people like Dr. Srinivasmurthy Acharya here for decades while studying Vedanta, and I've been a fruit of this very institution. In spite of it, I have problems with these sorts of institutions because these are not moving ahead at all. See, when people like Vyasatirtha came, he created formidable answers to the questions that were raised in his time. And we are studying that today. Okay? And today, there are questions that are coming and nobody is answering. We are not even addressing those questions seriously. I think that's a serious problem that we are living with. And I can give you a long list of 10 problems that we need to address right now. So let's take up this quantum physics thing, right? The locally unreal stuff that people are talking about. See, if you see what this locally unreal idea is, right? One needs to study serious quantum physics to understand what they are talking about. Okay, so that's exactly what we are lacking. Our scholars here who study Sanskrit and Vedanta for 12 years are not taught physics. They are not taught mathematics. My question is, when the lakshya or uddeshya of both mathematics, physics and Vedanta is the same, which is knowing the truth, how can you keep physics conveniently outside of the purview of your curricula and call yourself Tatvavadins? Cannot be done. So one has to study physics, and not everybody, of course, right? I mean, when philosophy gets propagated, it's not the job of everybody to be rigorous. Same thing happens with, I keep saying this, not everybody that goes to a university is a scientist. Not everybody that goes to a Gurukul is a philosopher, right? It's fine. I mean, it has different kinds of uses. Philosophy has different kinds of applicability, different levels of applicability, but we need philosopher-physicists today, and who are Vaishnavas by design and by choice, and who will answer these questions that are being asked. So let's take this locally unreal idea. I've been contemplating over it for a long time now. What is this locally unreality and so on. I may sound too pedantic and a little academic this time, but I think it has to be done. Forgive me for my...
People like you should make the scholars to understand what is in the summary.
Sure. I can do that. But again, the question is that it's not the job of an individual, right? So we need a lot of people to do that.
The answer you will get from the scholars, you can translate in your physics.
I agree. That has to be done. But I'm saying we need more people, more such people is what I think, right?
Interdisciplinary, very few can do.
Correct. No, but we are already doing interdisciplinary stuff. I'll tell you. I mean, to my mind, the Tarka Shastra doesn't look very different than mathematics. The only thing is, training is lacking. See, if somebody can study Samanya Rukti, right, they can actually study real analysis. The only thing is, somebody have to take it seriously, and policy makers have to put that in their curricula. That's all. Okay, and that is what I'm proposing right now. Anyway, let's come to this quantum physics idea, right? Locally unreality. See, if you think about what this... Can I take 10 more minutes or time? Just stop me whenever you want me to stop. So this...
I request you to give some, practical solutions for these problems. Of course, theoretically, whatever you are saying is all good. But as I said...
Very simple, no? Introduce physics in your curricula, that's it.
No. That's not possible.
Why?
You are not attacked in the creamy layer in the Gurukula. That is one of the major...
I see. So that's a different problem. I and Pandurangi Acharya have been talking about this for a long time. Maybe I'll talk about my thoughts in that direction as well. I'll talk about it. But maybe just I'll spend this 5-10 minutes on... 5 minutes on what my idea of quantum, especially given that my guru, Dr. Srinivasmurthy Acharya is there, because he worked a lot on this very specific idea, which I think is applicable to this quantum world, okay? Anyway, so what is this whole quantum physics about, right? I mean, but again, I'm watering it down, dumbing it down a lot. I'm not making it as rigorous as possible, but here is what it roughly looks like. So everything started with this one experiment called double slit experiment, okay? A lot of you may know what double slit experiment is, that two slits were created and a single electron beam was impinged on that. And what was seen was the behavior of that electron had two different patterns while being observed and while being not observed. Okay. Now what that observation is, in that particular scenario, observation is measurement. When it was being measured, it displayed one sort of behavior. When it was not being measured, it displayed the other sort of behavior. Come again? Right. So now this experiment was done, and this is, so basically the idea is that, so when they claim that the universe is locally unreal, they say that it is, when you observe it behaves in one way, when you do not observe it behaves in one other way. So there is no reality here. Okay. Now, if you look at the definitions of reality, or the idea of satya and mithya as debated in our philosophical schools, the idea of mithya as proposed by the philosophical school is that anything that is mithya has to be adhering to this definition which is called the pratipannopadho traikalika nisheda pratiyogitva. The long and short of it is that being locally unreal in that sense just does not translate to the traditional mithyatva of Advaita. That's all it is. Okay? But the thing is, somebody has to call it out. I mean, somebody has to say that this is not what it is. Again, I'll be a little pedantic. So what quantum physics says that a system exists in multiple superposition states of eigenstates, and whenever you make an observation, it collapses onto one particular eigenstate is what it is. So basically, yeah, it's very hard to translate that in normal English. You need a lot of maths to understand what it is. But the idea is, think of it like any padartha can exist in multiple states simultaneously. And when you make an observation, it collapses onto one particular state is how you can roughly translate it. Now, does it contradict the satyatva that the Tatvavadins talk about? Absolutely not. Because our definition of satyatva, right, is the abadhyata or arthakriyakarita. So what do you mean by abadhyata? Abadhyata means the one that is not subject to an idea called badha. And what is badha? Badha is nastitva prakaraka prama vishayatva is badha. Now think about it. After considering the double slit experiment, when you made that observation and electron displayed some particular behavior, after being measured, after it displayed that particular behavior, did anybody have this idea that, oh, this electron actually did not collapse into this particular state, but I thought that it would collapse here? Did that happen? Actually, it did not. Which means that nobody has badha on that particular state of collapse. Of course, it collapsed onto a particular state post-observation. That's true. But post-collapse, there is no badha. And it also has arthakriyakaritva into it. So that's our definition of satyata. Okay? So only, again, going back to that stock example that is given by the other philosophical school, right? That's famous Rajju Sarpa example. So you look at something, you look at a rope and mistake it for a serpent, and you go examine, then you realize that, oh, right? This was not the serpent that I thought it would be. I am Rajjureva. So that's the kind of jnana or badha that one should get if it has to adhere to the definition of mithyatva. Post-quantum collapse, so no physicist would say that one would get a badha. Okay? So now that has nothing to do with the traditional definition of mithyatva, right? It's all, as they say, that's dhuli prakshepa is what the Shastriya word is. It's actually dhuli prakshepa. Just use some argument to just talk about what you want. Now, the other interesting question is, so this so far so good, but the other question is the following, right? So if this is the case, how do we explain the Padarthavada or the Bhedavada of Tatvavada in the quantum world. So now, okay, what you are actually saying is, with observation, there is one state in which the system, one state that the system displays, and without observation, it shows some other state. How do you explain this? So I've been thinking about this, and one thing that came to my mind was, there is this concept of vishvesha. Somebody actually brought this up today. Right? Saha asti vastushu asheshataha is what Madhvacharya says in his Anuvyakhyanas. It's there everywhere. And we have been very successful in showing Nayayikas that in spite of accepting this idea of samvaya, they have to accept the idea of vishvesha, otherwise it doesn't work. Now, why don't we extend this idea to quantum world? Right? So what is vishvesha? Abhedepi bhedakarya. I was telling, no, my teacher actually spent his entire PhD thesis on writing. I think you should have put this in your thesis, a new book, where how do you use vishvesha to tackle this problem of quantum measurement and quantum state collapses? So the idea is the following, right? What does vishvesha do? In our, somebody was talking about achintya bheda also, right? The achintyata there and so on. Vishvesha actually does this. It's a vastu samarthya, okay? It's an inherent capability of every vastu in this world, okay, that can display the characteristics of bheda while there is no bheda. Abhedepi bheda karyakari samarthya visheshaha visheshaha. That's the way one would define it. Now, what is one karya of bheda that vishesha does not do is ekasatvepi aparnasha, which means that you cannot separate them, right? I mean, you cannot, whatever displays, let's take an example, right? If you take the yavadravya bhavi guna and guni, which is you take sweetness and sugar, there's vishesha between them. So it's not, again, when I say them, I'm not referring to two things. It's actually one thing that displays these properties. You cannot separate out sweetness from sugar. You can think of this idea of vishesha more or less similar to samaya, but it's not exactly samaya, right? Now, Acharya says that a padartha can display different forms, different characteristics at different times. In spite of being one. This is exactly what quantum collapse is, in my opinion. Right? So, I mean, all this quantum collapse actually explains Dvaita and the idea of Vishesha better than the Mithyatva is my observation. Because there is no Badha there. You have a question? Or shall we take questions after the talk? Sure. So this is just, I mean, as I said, right, this is something that occurred to my mind when I was just contemplating about this idea. Because, you know what's interesting is, physicists claim that all particles display quantum nature. There are two ways to explain the universe. One way is by the classical explanation of the Newton and his friends, right? The classical explanation of the world. The other explanation is the quantum explanation. They say that at the macroscopic level, you don't need quantum explanations, but they are there. Okay. Now, extend that idea to what Srimad Acharya said in Anuvyakhyanas, saha asti vastushu asheshataha. So he says that this idea of vishesha is everywhere, it's omnipresent. Now, isn't it very similar to the quantum idea? Yeah. So now the thing is, the other question that is asked while describing this vishesha is, okay, suppose a padartha displays multiple forms at multiple times. How do you know what forms manifest at what time? So what's the answer given? So it says it depends on what arthakriya it is doing. Depending upon the arthakriya, which is the prayojana perception of the user, it displays different form at different times is what the idea is. Now, isn't it exactly the same as quantum observer? And once you end up with an arthakriya, which is the quantum collapse, state collapse, there's no badha. That's exactly what Madhvacharya says. Once the arthakriya is happening, which is the collapse and some outcome of it, there's no badha to it. So there is no point of mithyatva there. So you should ask your other philosopher friends, right? You talk of quantum physics. Does a Rajju Sarpa display quantum entanglement and quantum collapse? It does not. Only an electron does it. Why is that? Because only the ones that are not subject to badha are the ones that display quantum behavior, because vishesha exists only in sat padarthas, not in asat. As I said, this is one way to explain things off, right? I mean, but every day, as I said, new questions are being posed to us as philosophers from science and technology. and artificial intelligence is one other area. So we talk of the fundamental 5 Bhedas, right? And we think that Chaitanya, I mean not the Mahaprabhu Chaitanya, the idea of Chaitanya, the Jnanavatva, is an exclusive idea of Chetana, right? Now, how do you explain GPT today? It is displaying a lot of signs of Jnana. Well, how do you know? I mean, we can have an entire seminar on top of it. In fact, unfortunately or fortunately, I practice developing these systems in my laboratory on a daily basis, so we can have debates on this. But it's hard. All I'm saying is, it's not a question that you can just brush aside with ease. It's an extremely hard question to ask and answer. Now, coming back to the questions that Dr. Shindi was posing, right? If you do not...
Before that, what you choose as a topic is a quarrel between ourselves, using the science as a mean method.
I agree.
But there are real scientific questions are there, which are being posed by everyone regarding every Vedikas, which cannot be answerable.
I agree. So that's what I'm saying. So artificial intelligence is one. The other question, right, that all Vaishnavas have to answer. So you know what? Mayavadis don't have this problem. Shruti Sutra Virodheta Gune Tvanyaya Kalpana is what they say. Don't worry about Puranas and all that, because anyway all that are Bhadhya and we operate in Vyavaharika plane. But for us, whatever Sri Vedavyasa says in its Purana, it becomes our responsibility to explain those things. Now, how do you explain the Adhyaya 19, 20 and 21 of 5th Skanda in Bhagavata? If you don't explain that, there is no way that you are getting a JEE topper to your school. No, not happening. Because just like they dismiss flat earthers, they dismiss us. Does anybody take flat earthers seriously today? No. I mean, come on. How can you do that? So because, see, this guy, you know, is one Indian astronaut who recently went to the space, right? He was a student in ISC, so we have interacted with him. So he shows me videos of a spherical globe, right, taken from different angles. Now, nahi pratyaksha siddham manyena kenapi badhyam drishtam. So we adhere to the same pramana tritaya of the epistemological ideas. And how can you deny pratyaksha? And if your Bhagavata is denying pratyaksha, if you don't explain that, forget about others, right? People like me won't buy it. I remain to be, loosely a Vaishnava because I was brought up to be a Vaishnava, right? It's very hard to deny everything and go away. But think of somebody who is a real... See, I'm not talking about people who just dismiss things right, left and center. Forget about those people. They are anyway not coming to us. But what about fence-sitters? People who are serious. People who are serious about learning and they want to genuinely learn. And when they come and see these kinds of questions not being answered or not even acknowledged, that okay, at least say that we have these questions, we don't know answer for it, let's try to answer these. If you don't do this, then they will say, I'm not making this up at all. This is my personal experience. My own students, they'll say, this does not work. ये तो पुरानी काल का चीज है sir, nobody wants to take it seriously. Exactly. So in fact, I myself, when I was a student a few decades back, I was bogged with these questions. In fact, I don't know how many of you know this. There's one book by one Sri Sadaputadasa, right? Richard Thompson. This book, entire 800 pages book on the cosmology of Bhagavata Purana. I have studied that line by line. And there's a lot of respite that is offered. In spite of it, it's not complete. There are lots, and in fact, we ourselves had a long 2-day seminar here where we could not reconcile it actually. Exactly. So he's my senior from ISC, right? So I think we have to take those questions very directly, and instead of just brushing them off, we should make serious efforts in sort of answering them. I think one way to do it is expose our Vidyapeethas and Gurukuls, students of our traditional schools, to modern physics and mathematics and make them study them very seriously, because it's okay if somebody doesn't study electrical engineering or computer science. People who come from traditional backgrounds often mistake studying engineering to studying science. Studying engineering is not studying science. Studying engineering is learning some art to make some things happen, that's it. It's applied science. I'm talking about the fundamental scientific ideas. One other question that bogs me every day is that, do we have any counter to Darwinism today? Theory of evolution. How do we explain those things? No, there are, I'll tell you, right, it is one to say that, okay, they're all apramana and they're all, because, they are contradicting our Shastras. But our forefathers, our philosophers did not do that. They actually went to the details of each of it and offered very rigorous counters to all those arguments. Right? So, one thing is for sure, right? Today's science, the epistemological methodology of today's science is not very different from the epistemological methodology of our Shastras. That it's exactly the same. But unless we study...
Like vishvesha, because Brahma Sutra says the samaya anubhagamacha. That's why we end up, this vishvesha called thing.
Yeah.
If Brahma Sutrakarya has not denied that, other than Laghava Gaurava, what logic you have to establish the vishvesha?
See, Laghava Gaurava is a very well established mathematical construct. No, I'll tell you, there's something called Occam's razor.
You have to experiment. So there are two parts, theoretical and experimental. Unless experimental scientist experiments that and proves it, it doesn't hold.
Not necessarily, no, because I'm telling you, see, one example can be, okay, so this actually, it's a very, very long debate. The question that you asked is very relevant. Short answer, short observation that I can make there is that, see, there are drishta ideas and adrishta ideas. Forget about adrishta ideas, okay? At least the drishta part of it will have to take care. Otherwise, there's no... See, we should explain the reason that, okay, there's... one of the key features of the evolution is that the connection between, I don't recall correctly, there's one particular nerve that is built in a particular way in human body, and that happens because of evolution. There's the only way that you can explain that is evolution, and you can show that basically the observations that are made in Darwin's theory are not very ad hoc. What I would humbly request is the following, right? Make our scholars study these things in a very rigorous way. That's the first thing that we should do. Okay? And of course, once we have the Shraddha and once we are indoctrined in the Vaishnava tradition, we will think of ways to explain this in a rigorous way.
But that basic premises itself, contradictory.
Not, if it's contradictory, then why do you expect somebody who is a truth seeker to embrace your tradition? At least resolve the contradiction, right? I mean, make efforts in resolving the contradiction.
Very important to see, and observe and review.
Review in their intellectual depth is what I'm saying. They're not. See, this is not for everyone. This is definitely not for everyone. It is not. Finally, people have to do the Harinama Kirtana and Bhakti, and that is what takes us to where we have to go. There is no question there, right? And all of us have agreement there. I have to only talk about things that we don't agree and we have a disagreement, right? And this is where we have a disagreement. I see a real lacuna in our society that our traditional scholars are not equipped today to understand this and tackle this in its highest rigor, right? And when we build institutions, we'll have to build them in such a way that people understand, at least understand and appreciate this. That, see, when you study the Darwin's theory, right, you understand what's happening there. In fact, I'll tell you, one exercise could be, can you anumanify all the arguments in Darwin's theory? You can construct an anumana, right, for all of them. For each of them, you construct an anumana and see if you can construct real doshas from Shastra. So that is one other thing that we can actually do. Same thing for quantum physics, same thing for mathematics and so on.
That we can do. Only problems. In their grantha, we can find the dosha.
Yes, we have to do. I'm saying that's a non-negotiable thing, because what happens is 200 years later, they'll say that, oh, something came and these people at that time had no answer. Not even documented, no? At least we have to document that these are there. See, why don't we write, just like, we still teach Tarkasangraha Deepika, right? Instead of that, you can teach a physics Deepika, Bhauta Deepika, and actually write them as anumanas. Actually write them as anumanas and teach your anumana doshas and all that using those contemporary ideas, right? I mean, who are contemporary Vaisheshikas? They are today's physicists. Isn't it? Why are we looking at some 500 years before prameyas? Of course, epistemology has not changed. There's no question about it. Come again? Yes. Yeah, it's lack of time. But yeah, I mean, as I said, this is not one day's thing. It should be an institutional idea. So yeah, that is my call. Correct. And has to be done over years. Right? But because there are people who are, I mean, we have Dr. Anand here and all these people who actually run these institutions and can make decisions. That's why I'm appealing to all of you that think along these directions and try to bring in pedagogical, impactful changes. That's the only thing that I wanted to say. Right? If you can think deeply, say, I gave that quantum example to just demonstrate that there are possible answers that one can think of. And I told you about this Bhagavata Panchama Skandha because just to tell you that there are problems that is seeking your attentions. So we have to look at it. Okay. So I think with that I will stop, and I'm sorry if I've taken more time than what was required. So I should formally thank Dr. Pandurangi and the Samshodhana Mandira for giving me an opportunity. As I said, I'm not someone who totally belongs here, but yeah. I don't know that. Yeah.
Just linking. No, I don't have a question. I'm missing the link in terms of how you're connecting. I mean, I got the concepts that you said, what we need to do, way forward. How is it connecting with the theme of the conference? I'm missing to see that. You have a summary statement?
Oh, yeah. See, the thing is, he set the stage very nicely. I don't know if you were there. He said, why are we not seeing IITians sitting in this room? But if I teach artificial intelligence, I will see 2,500 people sitting in my class. So now why are we not seeing the greatest of the great sitting here? No, hold on. So the question is, we have to, basically, Bhakti has to, or Krishna Bhakti has to be propagated everywhere. That's what we are thinking about. Now, it is not going outside of our walls. It is not reaching the intellectual masses. Now, why is the question? No, the question. No. My thesis was that people reject our ideas because they think that we are not scientific. People reject our ideas because they think that our things are outdated. Because there are these questions that are lingering which we have not answered so far.
They have to answer a question. What do they mean by being scientific?
That is okay. That is well answered. No, I mean, whatever. Pramanika, let me tell you that.
Yeah,
that's all.
So these things are pramanika.
No, that's what I'm saying. See, whenever you see, when you see a spherical earth from Pratyaksha and your scriptures are saying that it is a flat surface, isn't it Badha? Those are the questions that I'm asking, no? This is not Pramanika. I mean, at least apparent Badha is being perceived right now. Exactly. So if there is a contradiction, one needs to resolve it, right? That's what it is.
In 1970, Srila Prabhupada established Bhakti Vedanta Institute with all the scholars, scientists, coming together to research on all this and present it properly. So similarly, I think that is a connection with the conference probably.
I'm aware of that institution. I've been there and yeah.
The theory of being flat has fallen flat.
But what does Panchama Skandha say? I mean, that's something that we should debate. It does, according to my thing, right? And not only that, right? Okay, something that is very apparent is something that I'll tell you. According to Panchama Skandha, the lunar moon that we see today is farther compared to sun, right? How do you explain that? There are people, we all know that, right? There are lots of things that. Yeah, we have gone through this, but yeah, I will tell you, that is what Brahmanda, Bhugola is something else.
Therefore, I say theory flat is flat.
That is true. Yeah. So that is the connection. So unless we make ourselves formidable and answer questions that come into minds of people who can think, we cannot propagate bhakti outside of our Shraddha circles.
So I think what Dr. Pyati sir was saying, I think we need to come out with some practical 1, 2, 3, right? And start small and go on, because these talks have been happening.
No, I told you, see, one thing is introduce physics in your curriculum in Vidyapeethas.
No, I think, see, in a small circle, he was saying, you first, we should have a train the trainer. right? And educate people on what the
Fine.
implication of these things. And then it should be taken forward is what. Because today the intellectual conceptual rendering, a common man thinks that I want bhakti.
No, this is not for whatever I spoke is not for a common man.
No, correct. Doc, listen, what I'm saying is, today common man, where do we want to drag him? We want to drag him towards from Nastika, I'm not saying Nastika to Astika, but an Astika first. And is that Astikata firm in his mind? And this bhakti, will it lead to salvation? Right? Slowly, these concepts are, to be addressed at one level. To feed that and, make it more strong, such intellectual discussions will definitely help. So we'll have to have two different departments.
I told you, this is definitely not for common man, not at all. And people, institutions like ISKCON and all this, they are already doing a lot for reaching, right? They have been extraordinarily successful there. Reaching masses, right? A lot of masses. Yeah.
Actually, a lot of comments and a lot of questions, but I will ask only one thing. First of all, thank you for sitting ground, sir. But I am probably going to speak tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada's vision for all these activities and how the Brahmavada Gaudiya philosophy is going to have a fundamental role in that. And I also really want to thank you for bringing out the idea of vishvesha. So, it's really something very important that physicists or any scientist should really have on. So, why I'm saying this because my journey of coming to this Vaishnavism is really other way. I did my PhD in physics and then those inquiries brought me to this path. So I can really appreciate what you are saying. And my question is, when you say what is Satya or what is real? So you mentioned that the quantum mechanics is whatever the Nobel Prize was awarded, it was for proving that it's locally non-real. So when you talk about locally real means it's the local factors around this situation influences and it's totally causally explainable. That's the local realism.
Correct.
The local non-realism means when you have non-local effects, like the Bayes theorem probably mentioned already. So Bayes theorem says that there can be non-local effects like the entanglement.
Correct.
So it doesn't. Although the Advaita scholars they may jump onto this as the proof for Advaita, it's not, as you very rightly said. But it also the whole understanding that's there scientifically and empirically, it also asks us to revisit our notion of reality. What we call real? Is there an objective, observer, independent world? That's my question. If you can answer that, then probably we'll have answer to most of the things. And second, how it is bhakti, because in our tradition, of course, in the tradition. So Prabhupada, oftentimes he used to, whenever such conversations would come with scientist disciples, he would quote one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.22. Idami pumsa tapasa sutasya va sustasya suttasya buddhi dantayo avichitta artha kavivi nirumita yad uttama shloka gunana. So the purpose of all the studies is to come to the point of glorification to Supreme. So earlier the Purvapaksha was Advaita, but now the Purvapaksha is no longer, I would say, really the Advaita. It's actually the hardcore materialism.
Correct.
Fight with them.
Correct.
If we need to really carry the spirit of Madhvacharya, we need to fight with these people.
Correct.
That is there already. Well answered by our Acharyas. Now this frontier is really open, and unless we really hit upon that, very soon we would be really considered obsolete.
Already being considered obsolete. Yeah. Okay.
The question is,
we need to establish one more Poornaprajna Vidyapeetha Pratishthana for the material sciences.
no, you should have same branch. Otherwise, this will be obsolete if it comes. It should be part of this.
It's not material sciences, interdisciplinary studies.
Correct. And when you say interdisciplinary, include the contemporary physics and mathematics without leaving that.
In that way, I want to announce that Poornaprajna Vidyapeetha is actually planning to have two kinds of already we have talked with many authorities in our Central Sanskrit University and other places to get financial support for the interdisciplinary studies. And in our Karnataka Sanskrit University also we did have a program of interdisciplinary studies. And especially we are now having one one fellowship, postdoctoral fellowship in interdisciplinary studies. That is already we are going to announce very soon, and we hope people will be able to join us and do serious research. One thing is one fellowship in the interdisciplinary studies where our Shastras can interact with the other sciences, and another one postdoctoral fellowship is in the intra-religious studies. We can have the way Christian people are studying Hinduism. One person did PhD in Dvaita, another is in Vishishta Advaita, Advaita. So people they are studying us. But whereas we are simply neglecting the study of other religions, maybe Christianity, maybe Islam and Yehudism and all other things. So, and we hope we will do some research with this kind of serious questions posed by the modern science. It is very important. We cannot neglect them. That is my observation. And of course, we are already overburdened by so many academic works in our way.
That's why we need more people like you, no? So you are already occupied. Breed 10 more people like you who studied physics.
We need more people, and we are already in talk with many experts who can design courses for the basic science and mathematics for the Vidyapeetha students. And one such thing is happening already. MIT Pune is offering one course that is to bridge the gap between Pandits and philosophers, Pandits and scientists. They are offering one BSc course, and many of our students are joining. But it is not enough. You are expecting more people into that field, and I hope people will come. And that can happen both the way. The well-studied, well-read Sanskrit scholars should be introduced to the modern science and modern science, as well as those people who are well-versed in the physics and chemistry, who have done PhD in those areas. They can be introduced to the basic ideas of our Shastras. So both the way that can happen. We hope we will do it soon.
One more thing we can start with actually. We are getting questions from our scriptures. Now, what if the scriptures are already interpolated? We are getting questions. So the first thing we can do is to move out the interpolations first with the help of the scholars who can actually get the things. It is fine or not. Was it there? Is any commentary is there? So that the authenticity of that part is established first.
It's
the
like,
first thing.
it's like what you are saying. If Manusmriti says something against to the current world, you will declare that it's an interpolation.
No, not that.
That is what happening now.
No, we'll check if there
But
is.
what he says is also right. See, there are Upanishads like Allah Upanishad is created.
That
There
is-
some other things are created and added.
These
I'm
questions
saying
are
you-
not for Allah.
Correct.
Bhagavata questions.
Correct. What I'm saying is there are things, even Apastamba Dharma Sutras, some things which are not there in other places added at the end and intermediate in between about how to be. But if you see other manuscripts in other places, it is not there. So there is.
Those are inter-religious studies. We are saying about interdisciplinary.
What he's saying is that.
No, I think point is well taken.
I'm talking about
Point
the
is
questions.
no point is well taken, but unfortunately, the questions that we are asking right now are from the parts which have been well studied and they have been established as the authentic texts. So correct. That is where it is.
Yeah, we will conclude.
Okay. So
It's
in,
very interesting.
Observation is about this race to explain current phenomena. Now, what happens is, I mean, this is just my view of it from a risk perspective, that sometimes we may have a certain scientific advancement and we may try to explain, and problem that I have heard from many of my friends is, does your Vedanta give the key to the next scientific discovery? What we have been doing till now is just barely trying to
catch up, trying to play the catch up game.
retrofit our explanations to what the findings
Correct.
are. And the risk with that thing is that the moment a new scientific thing comes, we we end up with the problem of what we call in ML as overfitting.
Right.
New point comes, data
Right.
point comes, and it's all gone.
Right, right. Agreed. See, as I said, that is why, right? You need to take up only those questions that have been established through formidable evidences. So only the ones that are, see, for instance, right? Today, we cannot perhaps say that, oh, there will be a time when people realize that the Earth globe is flat. Would you think that that is something that can change? I'm only talking about those kinds of things. I understand. I completely agree with your point. We should not overfit and play the catch-up game. And I'm completely against that. See, whenever somebody comes and tells me that, oh, look, this theorem was there in Vedas, that theorem was there in Vedas, I'm the first person to say, please don't do this. This is great disservice. We should stop doing it, right? We will be ridiculed if we start doing it. I keep saying that. In today's Vedic texts, you don't find ways to train a masked language model, for instance. And don't overclimb. My only worry is that in the realm, he was also talking about, I'm not talking, see, I don't talk about is Brahma Nirguna or Saguna. That's a different debate. And today's physical sciences are not even bothered about it. And we are safe. But in the realm where our Shastras claim that they are making an observation, right? So Panchamaskanda starts by saying that Vistarashaha Vyakhyāsyāmaha, right? We will do the Vyakhyan of entire Bhumandala. And there you see contradictions. Isn't it our responsibility to tackle them and answer them? That's all I'm saying. Samapayama. Okay, so I'll...
We have the same venue is witness to the various discussions after discussions, and still we are nowhere near the conclusion. But we continue our discussion. That I can say. But we need to do it very regularly and arrive at a conclusion. Certainly it will happen. We already have devised a way to understand this thing. As a model, I have told Pradosh, it is a model of understanding the thing, but still these people are not ready to accept it, because there is a recently published work of Mahasalilam by R.N. Iyengar. I have seen the same kind of description of the Brahmanda. So it seems there is a influence of that thing on, but we cannot say anything exactly. Anyway, again, there should be topics for the next seminars.
So, someone asked how it fits, how Pratosha's paper fits into this seminar. The only one thing we can say is that at Vyasatirtha's time, Mimamsa, language of Mimamsa, used to have a debate with each other. So we used to give analogy from Mimamsa sutras, and we used to debate that how to interpret our things. And then it became Nyaya Shastra, and it became science. So the Advaitins or anyone will take an accepted concept from the science to put it against us. So while tackling that, whether we are comfortable to address that problem, either we are comfortable only finding some doshas in those principles. That is where we have to think about in our future. And there are many kinds of people who we have to cater. So there are bhaktas, we will Harinama Bhajan Sankirtan and all that happen. So some people would want better than that. Better than it not, I'm not demeaning that, but they are very, yeah, they are in different mindsets. So we have to cater to them also. That's what our Vyasaraja did. He composed songs in Kannada also. He wrote the Chandrika and Nyamrita and Tarkatandava also. This is how that works. And now I wholeheartedly welcome our chief guest, on Dr. D.P. Ananta Acharya. He is the Purvashrama's son of present Vyasaraja Math Swamiji, Dr. Vidyashesha Tirtha Swamiji. And one thing which I have to mention is that he was the TTD member for 2 years. and it is his two terms, for 2 terms. I think more than lakh people, because of his direction, because of his efforts, more than lakh people have visited Tirupati Balaji temple and had a blissful darshan. And it means he has accumulated that much punya in himself. That kind of person or Anantacharya is, and is very, very simple. He is present. He was present here in at the morning session also, but he didn't took the stage. But now we have requested him to take the stage, and he is also All India Chess Federation's vice president. So he is also streaming in many lines. I wholeheartedly welcome Dr. Anantacharya for this conclave. And now I request. Yeah, he has, and he has presented one PhD work to the Karnataka Sanskrit University, where he has written a thesis on the Venkateshwara's temple management, all the things. It's very interesting to read all those subjects. Now I request Chairperson Stoka Krishna Swamiji to deliver his chairperson address. His Holiness Stoka Krishna Swamiji has been serving the mission of Srila Prabhupada as a full-time Pracharaka with ISKCON Bengaluru since 1989. He had a vast experience in the professional field before joining the movement. Currently, he is serving as the president of ISKCON Mysore. I was in Mysore for 3 years. I could have come there. Okay. In addition, he also involved in the training and counseling full-time Pracharakas at temple. His Holiness Stoka Krishna Swami is good singer of Vaishnava songs and also an expert at reciting scriptural verses and Vedic mantras with proper accent and meter. He is IITian also. Now we heard scientist, now we are hearing IITian. I request Swamiji to deliver his chairperson address.
Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanishalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. My respectful obeisances to all the assembled devotees, scholars, acharyas, and transcendentalists who are seriously interested in spiritual subject matter. Because we're living in an age where very few people take serious interest in spiritual subjects, and even those who seem to be interested, they're carried away by all kinds of false presentations and bogus gurus and swamis and those kind of things. So that is because Madhvacharya, there is of course this was already quoted in the morning, but I would like to say this. Baldev Vidya Bhushan, one of our previous acharyas in our Gaudiya Sampradaya, he has glorified Sri Madhvacharya in Prameya Ratnavali. Ananda Tirtha Nama Sukha Maya Dhama Yatir Jiyat Samsara Arnava tarinam yam iha janaha kirtayanti buddhaha. The meaning of this is, all glories to the sannyasi named Ananda Tirtha or Madhvacharya, who is the abode of transcendental happiness. Learned and intelligent men glorify him as the boat which enables the souls to cross over the ocean of material existence. So this is the prayer he offers in the beginning of writing this Prameya Ratnavali. And of course, there is the other verse in his Prameya Ratnavali in which he says, this was already presented in the morning. I'll just make a mention of that. That Prameya Ratnavali, the specific verse that serves as the gem summarizing the 9 core philosophical tenets of Sri Madhvacharya, which has been completely taken in the Gaudiya Sampradaya also, the 9 philosophical tenets. I won't go into that. But I just want to, I don't think I have much time, but I want to make one important point that we study in Prabhupada's books, that what is the position of an Acharya? This is very, very important. Then everything falls in place regarding accepting what the Acharya says. In the Bhagavatam, there is this verse, Acharyam mam vijaniyan na avamanyeta karhichit na martya buddhya asuyeta sarva devamayo guruhu. One should know the Acharya as myself. Krishna says this to Uddhava. And never disrespect him in any way. One should not envy him, thinking him to be an ordinary man, for he is the representative of all the demigods. So the position of an Acharya is very, very special. Acharya is one who is a liberated soul. He is free from the 4 fundamental defects of a conditioned soul. So this actually, basically the scriptures explain there are 2 kinds of living beings. There are the conditioned souls and the liberated souls. So the liberated souls are necessarily free from the 4 defects found in conditioned souls. That is, the 4 defects are: the conditioned soul must be illusioned, must commit mistakes, should have a cheating propensity, and also has imperfect senses. Whereas a liberated soul is actually free from these 4 defects. Therefore, the authority of a liberated soul, that is the Acharya, is that an Acharya, whatever he speaks exactly from the scriptures, which are again perfect. Scriptures means perfect knowledge, which is coming from the all-perfect Supreme Personality of Godhead. And such scriptures are strictly adhered to by the Acharya. The Acharya never gives his personal opinion. He never speaks anything which is outside of the scriptures. His only business is to present the truth. And he supports every statement he makes with the quotation from the scriptures. So there's no question of anybody disagreeing with the Acharya, or somebody having an interpretation of what the Acharya is telling, or the Acharya himself having an interpretation. So our whole process, as Prabhupada says, that our system is called the Parampara system. In the Parampara system, the proper way to receive spiritual knowledge is by disciplic succession of Parampara, where we don't have any room for speculation. And the characteristic feature of the Advaitavadis, and of course many other modern philosophers, is they totally depend on speculation. They totally depend on speculation. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, the method of speculation is completely thrown out as garbage. Jnane prayasam udapasya namanta eva Shrunvanti sanmukharitam bhavadiya vartam. This is the statement of the Bhagavatam, that this jnana process here means specifically the speculative method. By speculation, you can never ascertain what is the truth. Because the truth is to be understood or received. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, this knowledge, transcendental knowledge, is received in parampara. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu. And it can only come, you have to receive it from either the Supreme Lord or from his bona fide representative, the Acharya. There are only two sources you can receive. And the scriptures also say, there's a saying in the Bhagavatam itself, there is one statement by Uddhava. O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you, even if they were endowed with prolonged lifetime Brahma. For you, Uddhava is speaking to Krishna, you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as the Paramatma or the Super Soul, to deliver the embodied living beings by directing him how to come to you. And Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayanti te. The whole business of this creation, Krishna's business in this creation is simply to deliver all the fallen souls, all the entangled souls. Even the Acharyas come only with one purpose. There's no other purpose. So if we don't actually focus on this particular purpose, then we can get lost in so many other things which are irrelevant to actually the human form of existence or the very purpose of this creation. So in that sense, we simply accept Shripad Madhvacharya as the fifth Acharya in the Sampradaya in which our founder Acharya Prabhupada is coming. And this parampara is actually documented in one of the songs written by Prabhupada's guru, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He has listed actually 30 different Acharyas' names in this parampara, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya parampara. And in this he lists, first one is Krishna, and second one is Brahma, and third one is Narada, and fourth one is Vyasa, and Vyasa, and fifth one is Madhvacharya. And in the same parampara, Prabhupada comes 32nd in the line, and his guru comes 31st in the line. So in this parampara, since Madhvacharya is the fifth Acharya, there's no question of trying to find some common ground between us and Madhvacharya, whatever he has taught. Because Prabhupada entirely accepts whatever Madhvacharya says, and in my paper that I have actually prepared, I have culled out wherever Prabhupada has quoted Madhvacharya to explain several verses of the Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and many other books that Prabhupada has written. So it's a complete compilation. It's not an exhaustive compilation. I've just taken some of the things because otherwise it will be very bulky. So we simply accept the words of the Acharya and we have nothing to consider whether it is actually agreeing with our understanding, or we have a different viewpoint, or somebody else interprets the Acharya's words in some different ways. We don't have any such thing. Therefore, Prabhupada, when he actually translated and wrote purports to the Bhagavad Gita, he called it Bhagavad Gita as it is. He's telling, I'm not giving any opinion of myself. I'm not translating anything on my own. I'm simply giving you what I have received in the parampara. And parampara means the knowledge is transmitted without any addition, without any subtraction, without any change. The truth is presented as it is. Finished, over. So there's no question of interpretation, there's no question of debate, there's no question of argument. So actually Prabhupada would not enter into arguments with people who are not ready to accept the truth. If you are ready to accept the truth, then you come to me and I'll tell you what the truth is. If you're coming here for any other purpose, you go to somebody else. I'm not here to please you, to convince you about something that I have to tell. No, I have nothing to say. Personally, I have nothing to say. I am merely coming on behalf of Krishna and my previous acharyas to actually save you from the miseries that you're suffering. That's my only purpose. It is out of compassion. Krishna has got unlimited compassion for suffering souls of this world. And that's why he comes and he sends his representatives, the acharyas, to deliver the conditioned souls. If that is not your purpose, then I'm not interested in you arguing with you or trying to convince you about something. So that perspective is what actually our entire ISKCON movement runs. It actually runs on this basis. And of course, it's not that we shun philosophy or we don't study the Acharya's works, but studying the Acharya's works is only to actually become convinced of the fact that we are actually entangled in this material world. Our goal in this human form of life is to get out of this material existence and go back to the Supreme Lord. And the Lord has shown us the way. We simply have to accept it, and we simply have to. And we are not selfish that I deliver myself, I'm in trouble. No. We also understand that the Lord feels for all his parts and parcels, all the jivas. Mamaivamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. So the Lord wants to deliver everyone, so we work for the deliverance of others also in whatever way we can, by again following in the footsteps of the Acharya, who actually preached and has come actually for delivering all the conditioned souls. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Sri Krishna Swamiji, for delivering a chairperson address. With this segment, we are concluding this session. I thank Chairperson Krishna Swamiji for listening all our arguments patiently and delivering his topic, including the chairperson talk. It was included in his topic. And I thank Pratosh for presenting his paper. And there was three things. One is practical, theoretical, pragmatical. So there were mixture of three things here in this section. I thank Acharya for delivering his speech, his paper, and I thank Vishvaprassana for explaining the hardships of running Gurukula and trying to establish the Tatvavada in Delhi. And I thank everyone for listening carefully and participating in the discussion with very enthusiastically. Tomorrow also we have many interesting papers. I request all of you to attend the seminar. Day 2's first session will start at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. I request all of you to present here. We will conclude today's session. Shri Krishna Arpitamastu.